Welcome back to Out of This World, guys. I'm Jamie Hanshaw, and joining me today is Ruckus, my good friend Ruckus, who is the host of the Daily Ruckus on alternatecurrentradio.com, and also a fellow Boiler Room froggy, right?
Guilty as charged, Jamie.
Yeah,
This is nice. Thank you for having me on. This is gonna be fun. On your own
yeah.
program. We like I can't have you on my program, The Daily Ruckus, because I just report news and do other things. Maybe I'll do a special sideways interview program that involves other guests. But it's fascinating that now I get to be on my fellow Boiler Roomers podcasts occasionally, and now finally yours. So thanks for having me.
Yeah.
We have a big discussion today. It's gonna be great.
I know. So in this day and age, I don't know if you've heard, but World War III is popping off. Um, it has
News to me.
gotten crazy. And it seems like this is the year of a million villains. And I wanted to sort of rant to you at the beginning of the show today because I have noticed that, well, the phone is trying to mind control you, right? It's trying to get you to do all of these things. I wrote a joke and I said, my phone wants me to, number one, get a divorce, and number two, spend all my money. And I'm like, silly phone, how can I afford to shop if I don't have a husband? Right? So I told Jay that joke and he's like, "What do you mean it wants you to divorce me?" And I was like, "It's just a joke." But yeah, I can see where things are trying to nudge you in certain directions. And that's what we're going to talk about today is like, are you the product of your own original thoughts and experiences, or are you a simulation that is just like being blown back and forth hither to accomplish some nefarious goal, and we'll get into what that could be. But today I just wanted to, I'm so frustrated, Ruckus, because the phone, the algorithm, everything, society has told me that I am the problem. Okay. Everything is my fault as a white woman. So I don't know if you've experienced this on your interweb searching as a white man. It tells you you're the problem. If you're a black man, it says you're the problem. But it has completely convinced me that the whole world is against me. Everyone hates me. I know that's not true. But every time I log on, conservatives are like, it's liberal white women's fault. And then the liberals are like, well, it's conservative white women's fault. And the feminists are like, we love everyone except white women. And you go through these threads, and the threads are like, it's all women's fault. And then someone says, no, it's not just women. It's women over 40. No, it's not them. It's childless women over 40. So they might as well just say it's all Jamie's fault because it's like everything that I am, I'm being programmed to accept this responsibility for the collapse of civilization just because I'm a white woman. And I'm not trying to be weird. It's I uh I realized that on election day when I got called, what did I get called? Got called Ava Braun of the Fourth Reich, and I got called a crypto feminist. So two extremes of a thing. And I'm like, neither of these things is true. So I must be just some kind of blank canvas to project your anger onto, right? And I've noticed that other groups are getting the same treatment. I mean, once you convince a tinfoil hat to feel sorry for Jews, I mean that I feel sorry for Jews right now and what they're going through. I feel sorry for everybody. Everybody has been demonized. And I made this sort of chart um, for people because I am the problem. And everyone is their own problem in my experience. Not to say that we don't have enemies, but even if you could, if you had the Thanos glove and you could make the group disappear that you hate, if you could make all Jews disappear, you could make all feminists disappear, if you could make all whoever that you blame for everything that's going on disappear, your life would still suck because of you. Not you, Ruckus, but I'm saying all these people who say, no, it's feminists, no, it's red pills, no, it's this, it's liberals, it's conservatives, it's everything. So I wanted to actually take responsibility and say, in our own lives, We are the problem in our own life. Okay. Not everybody is as victimized as they pretend to be. And if you wanted to have the problem would be, Satan himself up here. Right. So I made this chart, and everybody wants to fight evil, even whatever side that you disagree with, they think they're doing the right thing. And everyone thinks they are immune to propaganda, which we're not, right? Everybody has been sorted out and categorized and put into these different boxes based on our algorithm and what we're viewing. So I put, at the top, the problem is the devil, the evil one, the adversary, going away from what's right. Underneath him, you've got, the principalities, the fallen angels, or aliens. These are the demons who influence the humans who are knowingly aligned with the devil or the demon possessed. Um, these are your secret societies, these are your bloodlines, these are the occultists. You don't see much of them, right? But they are controlling all of the groups in this green that you hate. So whoever you think is the problem, um, whatever your ism that you are against, this is the green, and then the green controls most of humanity, which is the orange, which is, just people living on autopilot, or in survival mode. They're living on their vices. These are the NPCs or the Sims, or this is the group that is most vulnerable to being swayed into these different cults to get different outcomes. And ultimately it goes back to the devil. So, but at the bottom, you yourself are the own problem in your own life. Not that people aren't victimized or oppressed, but you're trying to beat the devil by punching through like Mario straight up, and there's no way. You can only bypass everyone else and defeat Satan by being humble and realizing that all of these people groups that you think are so evil and ruining the world are just one level of this pyramid. I don't know. What do you think of my assessment of whose fault it is?
Well, I'll remind everyone that each individual person in those other groups, the layers above the you on the foundation, are also bearing the weight of their own personal you foundation pyramid. So it's like a multi-level pyramid within a pyramid. So like at the end of the day, you're right. All of us are responsible we are the problem. And that's actually technically hey, I'm going to have to accept some responsibility even more so than you because this is a very biblically founded belief when you think about it because we are born into original sin. If you're a believer of the Bible and God as the creator and Jesus Christ, when most people like the guys, the men will be like, oh, it was all Eve's fault because she ate the apple. Well, obviously my real name, of course, is Adam. My name, of course, comes from the Bible and the first man. I was the first son born into my family. But that aside, it's not because of what Eve did that we are condemned and born into sin. It's because of what Adam did, which because Eve was tricked by Satan, the serpent. I think those might be two separate entities, but it doesn't matter. Ultimately, it was the devil, right? Maybe the serpent was just the middle level of the pyramid there. But regardless, Eve was tempted, and Adam wasn't around or anything like that. So she was deceived. But Adam knew better. He saw what she did, knew what was going to happen if he did it, and he made the conscious decision to sin like that. And since all of us are come from Adam, including the original woman, it's Adam's fault. It's because we come from Adam, not because of Eve, that we are born into original sin, which can explain how God can come onto our planet as the Son, Jesus Christ, with the virgin birth, because there was no Adam bloodline involved with that. Eve was okay. Eve's still okay,
Mhm.
right? But she bears her own sin being born into this world because she comes from Adam. But you see what I mean? So this foundation of yours, I find very much aligned with religious beliefs throughout the world, not just Christianity. It's very interesting, and a lot of what you're mentioning in there, I think, are things we're going to be touching upon in
Mhm.
today's discussion. Very interesting. I like your drawing.
Okay.
I even like the what's the polite word to use? I don't want to say it looks like the kids drawing with the
Crayons, yeah.
crayons, yeah, and you put it on the refrigerator. But I like that
Mhm.
look. I like that aesthetic. It's really nice.
Oh, cool, thanks. Yeah, that's exactly what they would tell me in catechumen class for Orthodox Church is that Eve was deceived and Adam sinned willingly, and in that we have two separate judgments, two separate responsibilities, two separate ways of being culpable, like you said, for the same action. So yeah, so Satan, the Lucifer, the adversary, the evil one, he is all about deception, right? And manipulation of our free will through mind control. And just to go back a little bit in time, when we were used book shopping the other day, I found this one, Subliminal Subduction. Are you being sexually aroused by this picture? Now, it's only a picture of, a glass of ice or whatever, but we all know these subliminal messages, and we've gone through these in Disney movies and other cartoons and commercials before in the past. But I just wanted to remind you that this kind of stuff has been going on for so long, and it's even becoming more sophisticated with the use of AI and algorithms that can basically turn you into whatever kind of person that it wants you to be, right? Um, so yeah, let's just start talking about that show Adolescence, because Red Pill Boys and Manosphere, I mean, this is the biggest probably influence that I have seen online in the past couple years. What do you think?
It didn't touch me, apparently. I must have been too busy being ruckus or something. Yeah,
You're a
no, the whole
Sigma.
yeah, the whole manosphere thing, I missed all of that. I think at that time I was just completely back in my normal work life and just focusing on that and just listening to Boiler Room and Sunday Wire, and that's about it. I wasn't even like watching you guys, your content on the side. I was just sticking to those two programs. This whole concept, I think I missed most of this. And then obviously, since I'm no longer an adolescent, I can only imagine what the kids are going through. I think about that a lot, when I'm dealing with my own experiences online and social media and Twitters and Facebooks and whatnot. I'm like, holy crap, it must be like impossible for kids. Like, what is this doing to our kids? Oh my goodness. Well, clearly we've got some problems in that department. And I think one of the problems, at least suggested in this television series, it was on Netflix, right, is that your interactions and thanks to social media, these algorithms can influence your behavior enough to cause a ripple effect in the real world, i.e., like cause you to go out and do violence in this particular case, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, definitely. It's influencing all sorts of crazy ways. I mean, now even things like grape is on the table, as redefining what this is and is it good or bad or should we do it? It's just getting really out of hand. And in the trying to fight feminism and Marxism and all of these isms, I think the pendulum has swung way too far in the other direction. I've been critiquing feminism for longer than I can remember, at least, the 2011, 2012, I wrote copyrighted articles mentioning these, I call it princess programming and stuff like that. Um, but now, I gotta tell you, in my villain arc here online, because I'm a white woman, and a lot of men just want to label every woman that disagrees with any sentiment they have as a feminist, right? So in trying to fight these Marxist ideas, we're becoming very Islamic almost in Sharia about our ideas about what women can do and what rights they can have. And I just thought this is so interesting. I don't know if you saw this. I got in not in trouble on Twitter, but there was a kerfluffle about a year ago. It was called like Spider Riz, and everyone was mad at me because I thought it was funny a boy couldn't flirt with a girl by using spiders, right? And they attacked me pretty bad. And I noticed that. So I've been talking about occultists, Satanists, deep state, villains, World Economic Forum, all of these super bad entities for so long. And I've been on Boiler Room with you for at least 10 years. And you know how many people have come back to attack me from these dark sides? Zero. I have had zero pushback or mean comments, nothing like that. But about a year ago, I got so much hate mail from Orthodox boys. And I'm like, not even Satanists are this like rude to me. So what is going on here? So there's got to be something to this manosphere, this adolescence, this red pill, which I think, is a disguise for introducing Islam and Sharia into the consciousness of the West in through religion. I think it's starting to push the homosexual lifestyle, and I think it also starts to push the robotic lifestyle or companions with AI or a machine instead of a real human being. Because all of the red pill guys are like, never get married, you can't trust a woman. They're all hypergamous. They're all liars. So the only thing you can trust is the AI. What do you think?
Well, I think I might be bringing up something later on in the show that might make those people change their mind. I don't think you can trust the AI, is what I'm saying. Like, so I think in general, not I'm not trying to steer it away from this at all, but because I don't want to take it too far advanced in the conversation, but what we're describing here is actually just one out of a million different examples of these highly categorized subcategories of things happening on social media. And I think when a company like Netflix makes a series based around a fictional scenario that hits close to the headlines and becomes successful, and then the whole thing goes viral and they talk about it in the news, and here we are discussing it on this podcast, and other podcasters have brought this series up and reviewed it, et cetera, and talked about this, what you're talking about is like, okay, what does this mean for the dynamics between men and women in society? And I think that's important, and it's always important. But the fact that it's happening and that it's in the discussion the way it is all because it's part of this bigger issue of the social media. These things would not be so popular. They wouldn't be. I think I think a lot of people want to. Let me put it this way: would possibly want to identify in some of these groups, these online chat rooms, and these organizations, and say they are an incel or claim to be identify as or whatever, just for that purpose, because it gives them a sense of purpose. It gives them an identity, and they see people online on social media who are influencers. Think about that word, obviously. Influence. What are they influencing? Parents, they're influencing your kids.
Mhm.
Hello. So like you got people like the Andrew Tates, and you brought up the Orthodox bros. They probably have like a tight knit community where people feel like they belong.
Mhm.
And as a member of the Social Rejects Club, which is the unofficial name for the people who listen to and hang out and are on the Boiler Room and associated with ACR, our way of thinking. We call ourselves social rejects because we've been rejected socially from all these other groups, but
Mhm.
we're still stuck inside of our own group, you know. So I struggle with these things sometimes. But I think what you're mentioning here is it hit home with you as a woman, right? And in a relationship, the way God intended, you know, with your husband and everything. So I think I don't know. I just it escapes my world, my current reality. So I think that's why it doesn't affect me so much. I'm not going to be swayed by someone's opinion that I see online. That's not going to dictate how I feel about women. And also when I hear a person who happens to be a woman, and I know what a woman is, and I'm not a biologist. I don't have to be a biologist to know what a woman is. Duh. I'm not going to judge them for what they say because every human being, whether they're male or female, has the right to be heard and give their opinion. And if they're completely wrong, well, hey, it might be my job to try to convince them otherwise, but I don't need to sit there, judge them, troll them, heckle them. And these are things, these are phenomenons, cyberbully them. These are phenomenons which, again, only exist in this reality of social media. I was thinking about something like, when did people start trolling people on social media? Like, when did this become a thing? Why is this a thing? Like, I've never, ever understood that. Like, to this day, I don't get it. And then, but reviewing some of these talking points that we're going to go over later on about social media, I was like, oh, okay, this is yet again another manifestation of the thing known as social media. So I don't think it's necessarily the incel culture or that line of thinking. Let those people be broken people and think whatever they want to, whoever they are. I'm not even judging the manosphere at all. Okay, I'm not judging feminists, but I'm just saying, let feminists be feminists. Let the manosphere be manosphere. But it's the social media that can take these things, whip them up in a blender, cause it to be used as weaponized data against you in order to manipulate your behavior and turn you into something that you may not have ever considered being before. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe that was too
weaponized
much. Sorry.
data is exactly what we're talking about. And in a minute, we're going to go over this book, 10 Arguments for Deleting Your Social Media Account Right Now. And I know you're not going to do it, you guys out there, but just remember, like I remember, that this phone is trying to get me to do something, and it is usurping my free will. So back to adolescence. I actually thought this was a pretty good show just as a drama in the way that it was filmed. It was very creative. Every episode was one continuous scene. So I don't know how I mean, so talented, and even the children actors, on point. Every scene was just very dramatic and enthralling, and it really pulls you in. So that was just a point I had about the actual technical aspect of the show itself. But it is about a 13-year-old boy named Jamie. So all the Jamies, they're what's wrong with the world, I know. We're also hypergamous. But his name is Jamie. They call him Jay, which was kind of funny. But this character is an amalgam of different news stories about young boys being involved in knife crimes in the UK. And all of these stories were about non-white boys. So I thought it was interesting that they chose like a native white boy to kind of anchor the story on, because the data that made up the stories of this show was about immigrant boys. So, what do you think about that?
I think you were not the only one who made that observation, and I think
Okay.
I was aware of the controversy surrounding the show in that particular department. I remember a lot of news stories coming across my feed saying like, "Oh, how dare they, Netflix? You're ignoring the elephant in the room, which is the dirty immigrants." That kind of
Mhm.
a thing,
Mhm.
low-hanging fruit for conservative politics talking points.
Mhm. So this is getting into things like toxic masculinity, which comes across the feed a lot these days. And again, I don't think masculinity is toxic, but when people are saying that there's no such thing as an incel because grape is on the table, I think that's a really dangerous path to let adolescents direct their thought process down. Like they're thinking, oh, well, I can overpower a girl if I want to, so incel is not a thing. It's getting really disturbing. But I noticed that they talk about the loneliness epidemic and the toxic masculinity. Uh, they're pretty gentle with the due process when they come to arrest him. So there's been a murder at the school, and they have him on film, so they're trying to get some kind of confession or motive out of him. And they're offering him cornflakes. They're being sweet as pie. Uh, and he insists that he's innocent under arrest, and they're asking him his favorite subjects. He's talking about history. He's talking about the Industrial Revolution for some reason. I'm like 13-year-old boy is looking at Brunel and the Industrial Revolution. So I thought that was a weird thing to throw in there.
Is it implied he learned that by hanging out with the Manosphere Bros later on?
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
this they're saying that his motives and basically his brain has been hijacked with these ideas. They go through all of the classic talking points. The whole 80% of women initiate all the divorces, and only 20% of men get the 80% of women because of attraction differentials. And it's also crazy when you think about it, and it leads to, I know we talked about this with Father Deacon, a lot of boys hitting themselves in the face with a hammer because they're not attractive enough and they think they can mold their bones back into a better shape. I don't know if you,
Okay, now I'm convinced people are just stupid, Jamie.
oh man, it is really, really crazy. So they're trying to paint this portrait that social media and the manosphere content in particular has made the students very naughty, very violent, very disrespectful, very unruly, especially to women teachers. I mean, the boys say, I don't have to listen to you because you're just a woman. You hold no authority over me, even though she's the adult and he's the child. What else were they talking about? Oh, just what the internet has taught them about how you have to trick women into fraternizing with you because it's possible to get one in the normal way. They do mention the words permaversion, incel, um, and cyberbullying with emojis. I know that's kind of silly, but me and you come from a world before the internet. You remember that?
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. I think the closest thing we had to social media was like passing notes around in class, right?
And the world was it was almost so much better um, for your mental health back then. I would hate to grow up now just being expected to have some kind of online following. I mean, that drives me crazy anyways as an adult trying to get the numbers up, but
Back then, kids could get bullied like me all the time, mercilessly, and then they wouldn't go shoot up their school. It was fun, you know, good old times. Things are
yeah.
changed now. Wow.
Yeah, so bullying has led to actual crimes in this show, and they call it the Andrew Tate shite. Um, like I said, he's got an attitude with every female like officer, teacher, and I thought this was interesting. So he has a blue collar dad with anger issues, but throughout the show, he's a pretty good dad. Like he's present, he's there at the arrest, at the, drama, at the trial, all of these things. He cares about his son. And I think what they're trying to get across here is that the parents are no match for what they see online because the parents did not slip, really. They just let him be on his computer in the room and he was radicalized so easily.
That is interesting.
Yeah. Let's see what else. So, this is what I thought was interesting. So the victim, her name was Katie, didn't even have a character. So the only footage you see is just like maybe her profile or when she fell on the police footage. She had no lines, no character, no nothing. The entire thing was about the perpetrator, the 13-year-old boy Jamie, and his inner world. And so I was like, they pretty much erased the victim out of this whole thing and made him to be the victim because of social media.
That's really fascinating. Yeah, I was thinking that right now. I was like, wow, they even dehumanized the fake character for the purpose of the film. That's insane. I wonder if they did that on purpose.
I wonder too, because it was such a contrast. Every scene, had this little boy Jamie in it, and the actual girl that was murdered had no place in this. She was just uh, somebody who got caught up sending nudes or something in the school. And
Another story ripped from the headlines. Yeah.
yeah, so then the boys thought that she was easy, and then when she um, did not take kindly to Jamie's advances, that's when he stabbed her. But she has no other role in this story but to die for this drama.
That sounds like a sacrifice. Now you really got me. Who made this movie? Oh my goodness.
Um, Other than Netflix, I'm not exactly sure. You can look it up. It's called Adolescence. It's from this year, 2025. Um,
I heard the writer who was involved is known for making these nonstop. They're always wildly successful series like this. So, you know, when you're wildly successful these days, that usually means you have, he made it to the top of the pyramid, maybe, Jamie.
oh yeah, he's probably in the green or the blue, But yeah, so Adolescence was very easy on the boy who had been mind controlled by this content. And it's so hard when all of the other boys are viewing the same kind of content. Because now you have a clique, you have a club, you're better than somebody. That's how all cults start, right? All cults and fringe groups say they have the ultimate truth, which is these stupid statistics that women are evil. And we hold the keys to reality. That's how you get these Tate war rooms and all these other, cults and offshoots is that they think that they have some kind of ultimate truth that another group is taking from you.
which is very easy to achieve if you want to be that type of person, like a grifter or a cult leader, using social media and being online. I mean, again, this none of this would happen without that concept, this idea, because we always everything that we see on social media and online for the most part, even like on YouTube, like what you're watching, however you're watching this right now, is like this isn't our entire life. This isn't our full 24-hour day. It's not like that series which filmed it all in one shot. You're just getting a highlighted snapshot of our thoughts and our opinions and our feelings right now. And social media and online and these Manosphere bros and the Tates, they do the same thing. They show their best life. This is me in my Lambo. This is me showing off my pecs. This is me hanging out with the prawn star. Look, I got the cigar and the big fat wads of money. And it's like, but that's all you see. You don't see when he's sick in the toilet or when his mommy brings him chicken soup or he gets a splinter and he cries. You know what I mean? We're given this little tiny pinhole snapshot of these people's lives, and we try to emulate that, and it causes a problem. But if the series wants to imply that in itself is a problem, I would argue with that because is there going to be a sequel? Is this a nonstop? I mean, if the internet and the manosphere and the influence is so powerful and people are being radicalized, how come that didn't happen to every single child in that high school? How come every single female student and teacher weren't stabbed? It was just this one incident of one broken kid stabbing one victim.
Mhm.
You see
That's
what
a
I
really
mean?
good point. Yeah. Why doesn't this happen to everybody? So some people are more susceptible to these things, and the phone knows what kind of person even you are. So
Well, isn't that weird?
it monitors your heart rate, your breathing, your pupil dilation, where you're looking at the screen. Is tracking all of these things. It knows you better than you know itself yourself. And I kind of like my algorithm because I'm not a weirdo pervert, but it shops for me. Like it will show me things that, oh yes, I absolutely do want that dress, and it knows exactly like my taste and my specifications and what I like, and so it does a lot of the hard work for me when it comes to like looking good.
True story. I used to fight the algorithm. I was like, when I first learned about all this stuff a long time ago, when the only social media I had was Facebook, and when I signed up for Facebook day one, it was like, okay, tell us a little bit about yourself. And this was many years ago, obviously. And it said, tell us, so what books do you like? And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not telling you what books I like, right? I'm like, well, tell us
Yeah.
some movies and music and bands. And I'm like, wait a minute. And then I realized that by liking and following people, I was worried. I didn't even want to follow anybody. I'd have to type their name. So if it was back then, I'd be like, oh, okay, let me find out what Jay Dyer's doing. I'd have to look for Jay Dyer just to find his profile and see his, because I refused to follow people because I didn't want to teach the algorithm that I'm one of those dirty people that's into this kind of stuff. I was scared of it up from the very beginning. And so then I decided to get rebellious because, around that time I became ruckus or whatever, right? And I thought, well, I'm going to mess with it. So not only do I not want the algorithm to know anything about me, I want it to be fed complete lies about me. So I was liking and following Lady Gaga, politicians, celebrities, sports teams, all this crap that I absolutely don't give an F about, just trying to mess with the algorithm. And I will tell you something, never once did I ever get fed any of that content,
Hmm.
which is very strange. I always, no matter what I like or what I do, was getting fed whatever the mainstream propaganda was. And so I was like, oh, wait a minute, this is a trick, right? And then, not long after that, we had well, we'll talk about that later, but the Cambridge Analytica thing. And then you realized, oh, this has been one great big experiment to study us and learn our behaviors and suck up all this data. But what are they going to do with it? Oh, well, it turns out they're going to use it to not just predict our behavior, but manipulate our behavior, as exampled in this television show, The Adolescents, right?
Yeah. Manipulate the mostly the orange group, most of humanity living, day-to-day survival. These are the normies, the Sims, the NPCs, which thank God for these people because they keep the world running in normalcy, okay? We can't all be like crazy out there
Until
magicians,
the robots
tinfoil
come,
hats. Yeah. Oh, we'll get to that in a second because all of these people are afraid of being replaced. So, um yeah, it's trying to turn you into a sim, a follower of the people in the green level. And let's get to this book, The 10 Arguments for Deleting This Crap, because it's just getting worse and worse. And I'm sorry, I don't think Twitter is any better than it ever was. I hate it just as much. Um, I've always hated Facebook because my posts don't go anywhere. I'm maxed out on friends, but I get zero thumbs or likes or comments or nothing. Like it's crickets. So why do I have 10,000 people waiting to be my friend on Facebook and no one comments anything?
Yeah, Facebook is, yeah, I gave up on Facebook a long time ago.
Yeah.
I recently dived back headlong first into Twitter since it became X and started developing my personal account. I had like another account that I've had for years that I adopted from somebody else. So it wasn't even my own real account. So I created my own one a few years ago and been building it up ever since. And since doing my show, The Daily Ruckus, I need it. I was like, so I pitched the $8 a month for the blue check mark. And it's useful for me to produce my own content and put it out there, but it's still just as useless to me as Facebook is for trying to find. I've got the feed and the following, and I still have to go find the people that I care about to find some good stuff to learn about what's happening in the world or to share. Again, the feeds are useless. What is the algorithm doing? It's like we were promised all this great stuff. The best algorithm that they ever created way back in the day, and it might have been one of the first original ones, from what I understand. I did some research about this a while ago. Pandora. Remember when Pandora came out and they were like, oh, since you liked this song, here's a song we think you might like. And you're like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
do like that song. That was probably one of the most phenomenal, perfect examples of a personalized algorithm that I could, I'm down with that. But I think that they took that and then created this monster, all these monsters that we're dealing with today.
And they're creating monsters out of people too. So it's not just the tech ghoulie, it's the people that turn into monsters because of what the algorithm is feeding them. So this book by Jaron
I think it's
Lanier.
Jerron.
Jaron?
Jerron.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like an interesting character. He's got those dreads, the white guy dreads. Yes. Um he looks like a, techie Rasta guy. But
Plays
he
music too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a musician. I
Oh,
forget what he
cool.
plays. Oh, crap.
So
Probably plays
he
the ukulele.
that's unique. So he wrote this book in 2018 because he just saw that how social media was destroying how we connect with each other on a very substantial level. So he was the interdisciplinary scientist at Microsoft, and he says that we are under constant surveillance, prodded by algorithms that make people make money off of your behavior. So now we've got money and income into this, and that was even before a lot of these things were monetized. So in 2018, Twitter wasn't monetized. I think YouTube was monetized by that time. But social media has become even more important to people because of the income that you can make off of it.
Facebook ads were definitely, that was a thing. So yeah, advertisers were, in case the viewer is not aware, but you can learn all that in this book right here and from other people. Social media, you're the product, and your data and you and your behavior and all of that stuff was being sold to the real customer of the social media, which were the advertisers. And that was all, it wasn't just Google doing that, but it was Facebook. Facebook was the real first big boy other than Google to be doing that stuff.
And did you know that Facebook started off as a ranking girls in college competition? So it started off as just a little website where
That's what they
the,
say.
the boys could
Isn't that
log
weird?
on and rank all the girls. But he's saying
It's
in
better
this,
than stabbing them, I guess, right?
yeah, I guess so. We we're being hypnotized little by little by technicians we can't see for purposes we don't know. We're all lab animals now. And they say that if the product is free, then you are the product, right? Or
There
your
you go.
data.
Everybody knows by now. They got the create. How come Google just sent me a Gmail when how did they know I was searching on Facebook for underwear or whatever?
It knows. It even listens to what you're talking about. I mean, thousands of people have said, we were just talking about this and then I got an ad for that. And then one step further, people's like, I was just thinking of something and an ad popped up. So
That's where it gets super creepy. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like that.
yeah. So that, I mean, that means, is it telling you what to think or is it reading your mind? Which
Exactly.
way is it going, right? So he said,
Where does it end and where do you begin?
right. He says through continuously adjusted stimuli, advertising becomes behavior modification. And this is the sorcery we always talk about. This is the when we go back to Freud and Bernays and how they changed and shaped culture with the advertising of Madison Avenue, and then up into, the 80s and 90s with the subliminal messages. Um, Social media is just a more advanced way to do that.
It's still media, right?
Right.
They didn't take that word out of it, did they?
Right. And what is the culture media but the petri dish that these scientists you know, uh, introduce the bacteria or the things and see what grows and what doesn't.
And of course, media is plural for medium, and we all know what a medium is, right?
Yes, it is a person who is the intermediary between, the spirit world and the mundane world. So,
Why do they pick these names? Why do they pick these words when they create these things? I'll never understand. They're like, oh, yeah, that's a good word for that. Don't you think someone's going to question? Nah, we'll just go with it. Like, well, we're creating radio, television. What should we call each of these? We'll call them channels. Yeah, channels.
oh,
That makes
good
sense.
point. Because they were channeling.
Yeah, what do we call this show? We'll call it programming. What?
Mhm.
Okay. Why do
Like
they
you
use these
program a
words?
computer.
Yeah,
Uh,
they're
with
programming us.
Yes, they're programming our biocomputer, which is our brain. Wasn't Media a goddess? I'm looking that up right now too.
That might be too. I forgot about that.
Medea
There you go.
is known in most stories as a sorceress and associated with pharmakeia, so that makes sense. So there's your
Yeah.
Greek connection too, your goddess connection. He said before computers, there were studies in behaviorism. So that's what we're talking about with Bernays and psychology, the Freudian path versus the Jungian path, or the other people who had different ideas about how to get people out of these existential mental crises. But he said for the early behaviorism people, you've got Pavlov, right? And his bell and the salivating dogs. And so who is hungry and who's not? Um, you've got B.F. Skinner and his animals getting treats. You've got who else? Can you think of anybody else that was doing these? Mind control in
Well, I
this
was always a bigger fan of the negative reinforcement. No, I'm just kidding.
the punishment.
A
Yeah.
bad dog. Just kidding.
Well, so what we're talking about is operant conditioning, which is streamlined to perfection almost with social media and the internet. And these are basically behavior modification empires. Facebook, X, all of these social media websites. He has a nickname for them, which he calls Bummer.
The bummer business model, right?
Yeah, the Bummer Machine, which is something like your brain on sale for these advertisers. I'll come to the actual thing in a second, but yeah, the war for the data of your mind.
The real bummer is that the people who do this to us on a daily basis know exactly what they're doing and they don't care.
Oh yeah, and they won't even let their kids use it. They don't use it because they know. And spoiler alert, at the end of this book, he's going to go into AI in the very last pages. Like this is a AI cult that these
And it
people
was written
worship.
seven years ago. He wrote that book, right?
Yeah. And he would know. So even the former Facebook CEOs agree that this is a dopamine-driven feedback loop, and it is destroying how society works, and they create or regret creating it. Some of them. Have you
Oh,
heard
I'm
that?
sure they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, try again. I'm not buying that. Yeah, no, the dopamine thing, that's actually a huge part of all of this because that's the new piece to all of this. Sure, we've had the media and the propaganda and the persuasion and all of these things, right? Behavior modification and the studies and the research, but now we're going to introduce the gamification of it with the dopamine hit. The same thing with online gambling, right? And you get the lights and the sounds and the mechanical behavior of the swiping. Remember seeing the videos of the babies who were sleeping, taking a nap, sucking their thumb, and they were just still
Oh,
swiping in their sleep.
uh-huh.
Okay. So there is a mechanical, like physical addiction going on here involved with all of these things because of what you keep bringing up, the little black mirror device that you carry in your pocket, Big Brother in my purse, right? The phone, the device, right? Which is a very important key part of all of this. But yeah, the dopamine thing is huge because, and it's evil. It's evil, evil, evil. What they took is they literally took the basic human desire for connection with other human beings and turned it into a drug. They monetized it, but they turned our need for connecting with other human beings into a drug. These mofos. Sorry. Go.
No, that you're exactly right. And I'm thinking of when they do studies with rats in the laboratory and they give them an addictive substance and if it's strong enough, they'll just like keep eating it until they die. Well, they found out that the reason these rats do this is because they have no rat friends, they have no rat families, they have no rat habitat. They're just a lone rat in a cage. Of course, he's just going to keep on eating the stuff until he dies because he's got nothing else to do. But you can use this as a metaphor for people too. If you've got friends, if you've got family, if you've got people tell you no, if you've got people around you, like in the 3D world that love and care about you, you're not going to be as susceptible to these dopamine gorges as you would normally be.
Yeah. And like Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins said, despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage.
Yes, despite all my rage. Yep, he knew. So you're carrying around your rat cage in your pocket. And the cage is in your mind, man, right? Like, you gotta free your mind first. And this is, where Christianity and Christ really helps because that is the beginning of freedom is up here. And you can actually be a slave in the real world and be freer than your masters if your mind is in the correct place.
Free your mind and the rest will follow. There's
Yes,
another song.
free your mind. Don't be so shallow. Exactly. So Facebook, well, their old motto was move fast and break things. Did you ever
That's
hear
kind of
that?
weird.
Yeah. And this is kind of what you see with the tech bros and like the Doge and Elon Musk and stuff. They're like that's their the way they operate. They just get in there and they break things and we'll fix them later and who cares? We'll just like
They make it
knock it
sound
all
cool. They
down.
call it disruptive technologies, right?
Hmm.
Disruptive businesses. And I'm like, you're still being disruptive anyways.
Well, I mean like the whole deconstruction, I don't really adhere to that. I don't want to like plow it down and build from scratch. I am a proponent of working with what we have and where we're at. I don't want to go back to any other weird place and I don't want to like live in the techno future. I want to like just grow and use what we have already. Everyone,
Unfortunately, the people in the green on your chart there practice the order ab chao, and they believe this is the only way for them to achieve their desired outcomes is by tearing everything down. Build back better, baby, you know?
yeah, deconstruct, accelerationism, all of this stuff to break down. It's very alchemical, it's very sorcery, it's very like Solve and Coagula, right? Of a magician. So he's saying, oh, the mottos, yeah. So move fast and break things is a Facebook old motto. And then do you remember when Google's old model was don't be evil?
Don't be, oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. They try to erase that from history, if I'm not mistaken. They'll straight up just deny that now.
Oh,
I think they're
really?
going to make that disappear. Yeah, I definitely remember that. They made a whole documentary about that. Was actually one of the things that I was like, oh wow, I remember watching this documentary that I can't remember the name of for the life of me. I was trying to find it to watch it again sometime this week. But yeah, like that was their motto, and they know they understand everything about the way the algorithms work, and the biggest amount of data we've been feeding that most people forget about is inside the search bar when we type say something to look up. We
Yeah.
think we're looking for information, but this whole time we've been feeding the information to them, and then of course they used that to train their chat GPTs. But we'll get into that later.
Hmm. Um, so he says that everybody that uses social media, you can become an addict, right? Like a full-blown addict, tweaker. Um, I get nervous if I don't know where my phone is, or if I haven't checked my emails in a couple hours, or if I haven't, looked at what's going on X today. I'm like, it's not. my addiction. I'm just monitoring the situation. But no, I need to get off it and stop doom scrolling. And how many times has Jay walked in and be like, "Don't just scroll, babe. Don't just scroll, babe. Don't just scroll." Like I can't, I can hear him multiple times a day. Don't just scroll. I'm like, okay, I get on, I post my crap, and I get off and make more original content. Um,
The doom scroll might be a new phenomenon since he wrote that book, but I don't know.
yeah, well, he's saying like this is so addicting, you cannot help but become an addict. And then number two, all addicts become liars because the addiction grows and grows, and you have to hide it. Uh, so you have
See,
this.
that's where it gets weird to me. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe this is a problem with the kids because the parents are trying to like keep the kids off of it or something. But like, I don't feel like I need to hide the fact that I'm using social media from. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah.
There's just a danger for somebody who's addicted to a social media to become addicted to other things, like pornography or like it's a gateway drug, right? And it's programming your brain to it's frying out your dopamines, basically, right?
I guess I see what you mean because like
Yeah.
TikTok's not enough. Like that didn't appease them. It didn't take too long before. Well, now we need TikTok challenges, right?
Yeah. And shorter and shorter. I mean, I know my attention span is getting worse and worse. Like I feel like I've accomplished something if I watch a movie from
Well,
beginning
that's a
to end.
pro. See, that's again related to this dopamine thing, and the AI is a bigger problem with this, which again, hopefully, we'll talk about later. But so social media before the entrance of AI, again, I don't want to get ahead of myself here. It was already rewiring our brains, the way
Right.
we use and interact with people and things on social media. I don't know if he brought that up in the book or not.
Yes, it is we're rewiring your brain to the addict model
There
of
you go.
behavior, right?
Yeah, it's not special to social media, but because it's become addictive, this is what happens to you. Yeah.
Yeah. But then he goes on to say, it's not always about pleasure because it also uses punishment and negative reinforcement, your favorite, right? Rage bait. So, do you get raged every
Enter the
morning, Marcus?
trolls.
Yes. Well, it creates trolls because now everyone's addicted to the rage bait. I am a victim of this. Oh, and oh, I forgot to mention with the manosphere and the cults and everything, it's like if you can give somebody um the superiority complex and a victim mentality at the same time, then you can empty their pockets.
Holy moly, that's what psychopaths do to take advantage of people. Weird.
Exactly. So all of these podcast bros and these creators who think are just like cool guys who want to see you become a cool guy. No, they are selling you hook, line, and sinker a superiority complex with your victim mentality, and now everything is someone else's fault, right? The
But don't
Matrix
worry,
is
it's not
attacking
because
me.
it's probably not because they're satanic or evil though, Jamie. It's just because they're trying to make a lot of money grifting off of you. So it's okay.
Yeah, it's just greed. That really chaps my hide sometimes when that's the like only thing that people can think motivates these technocrats is greed. I'm like, you got to think outside the box, man. They're demon possessed, okay? They're humans who have knowingly gained aligned with the devil, and they hate humanity. So they're all over.
Including those grifters that I just mentioned. They're not part of the upper echelon at all.
No, but the upper echelon uses them to influence the most people, right?
Very important that you bring that up. So yeah.
And the way they do this is through rage bait. So they have noticed that people will engage more with social media content if it makes them angry. So it's not even about making your little happies in your dopamines. It's about controlling you by whatever means they can. And negative emotions is more powerful than positive emotions. And there's a reason for that because, if you get hurt, you want to remember I stepped on that thing or I burnt myself or, whatever. Things are seared into your memory because your brain is trying to protect its body. You remember negative things more than you remember positive things because you don't have to for survival.
No, that's good. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So social media is both the treats and the electric shocks. Like
That's
if you,
very unique. I can't think of anything else that's like that.
yeah, it's like the thing that shocks the rat and it's the little treat that comes out of the chute because the negative emotions are easier engagement. He also says that addicts become zombies. They lose their obviously their ability to exercise free will because you're addicted to something. You don't want to be doing this, but you do it anyways, and that is going against your own self.
That's weird.
Isn't it insidious? And here you just thought you were interacting with a bunch of cool people, and I just, follow my friends on Instagram, but no, you're being sucked in and turned into some kind of zombie the more that you use that.
And you know nothing about those people that you're interacting with online. I mean, especially these days. Again, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but they might not even be real people. Just saying.
Oh, that's been proved a bunch of times. Like a lot of the trad wives accounts that, do this like super submissive BDSM trad wife cosplay stuff. Those have been proven to be men. And then a lot of the red pill manosphere comes from Pakistan.
Hey man, if it's going to
So,
get you the clicks and the views and the likes and you can sell a sponsored product and make an affiliate commission, do it, right? Why
yeah,
not? Just
but
kidding.
you get this illusion that these are just like well-meaning and like socialized people that have thought really hard about things and this is their valuable opinion. But I have noticed that most of this crap is just people who are drunk posting things on X or from the toilet. So that's what the only thing that makes me feel better when I get a negative comment. I'm like, this probably was from a person taking a dump and they just was like, screw you. And so, what do you think?
I mean, that's another part of the social media. It emboldens so many of us to be a-holes. And I know he talks about that in his book for darn sure, because we feel falsely so that we're anonymous online, right? Like Ruckus, like when I became Ruckus a long time ago, the only reason I was Ruckus is because I didn't want anyone to know that that's Adam Clark doing all this and saying these things. I was scared of doing like, and then when I did a podcast, I'm like, no one can know who I really am. My friends, Hesher and Spore, didn't even know my real name. You know what I mean? So I was like, so it was a big decision of mine, not that long ago, right around the P word time, the mysterious disease that shut down the world. That when I came back out of the, retirement, I was like, well, I'm just going to be my full name. People still know me as Ruckus, so I'll be like, it's Adam Clark, but AKA, you still know me as Ruckus, and I still go by Ruckus, of course, but I'm not afraid to be who I really am, and that was a big problem because when you're hiding behind a fake personality or a name, sure, I'm an on-air personality now, but I am who and what I say I am. You just have to take my word for that. Don't take my word for that. I want you to do your own research. That's what Bill Cooper would say. But I mean, I'm at least a real human being, and I'm not trying to grift anybody. Obviously, you can see I'm skinny. I don't eat much. I don't have a lot of money. I don't make money doing this. I do this because it's fun for me. It's a hobby, and I think it's important to have these discussions. And a lot of people don't have the know-how, the talent, or the willingness to do this. So those who can do. That's why you guys do this, I think. But again, when you're hiding behind an anonymous, I'm Big Balls. I'm Big Balls on Twitter. The guy who joined the Doge and then he's now part of the U.S. government. Like it's like because nobody wants to know that guy's real name is Jason Spencer or whatever it might be. Sorry if your name's Jason Spencer. I'm using that as an example here. So when we're hiding behind things and names, then we act like complete a-holes like and it causes this problem and then the rage baiting is like snowballs and you've been there and the next thing you know you're like yeah I'm ready to just take a break from social media. Oh my God, that was a lot of work just scrolling my doom feed today. It's crazy.
I mean, we don't get in fights about very much, but when he does get annoyed with me, it's because I got rage baited. Right? He's like, just put the phone down. It's no one is hurting you. And I'm like, but they said this thing. And he's right. I just gotta let him.
Okay, the trolls. I used to have to try to get the last word in with the trolls, and
Mhm.
I'd made it into a game, and I got really good about it. But I was like, oh my God, I'm wasting like hours just responding to these trolls. My new tactic that I started doing probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. Yeah, that's about right. Is I just, if they start trolling, I block them and I don't have to ever see or hear from them again. But that doesn't work on Twitter, unfortunately,
Yeah.
because every person that I stopped following and block, I still have to see on my feed. I don't understand how that works. It's because everyone else I follow still follows them and reposts their crap. It drives me insane. But anyways, yeah, just block
I
them and walk away. Your life is so much easier.
I don't have very many people blocked because I don't want to give them the satisfaction because then they'll just like post, "Oh, Jamie blocked me." So I just mute them so I know who's an idiot.
There, yeah, that's the other option. Yeah,
Yeah.
just as long as you don't have to see it and just you just they don't
Yeah.
exist out of sight, out of mind. Yep.
And if I see a comment from a post that it says what you have muted this person and I click on it, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I remember why." Like now I know why. So quitting social media, according to this book, is the best way to resist insanity. And this is the chapter he calls it the bummer machine, behaviors of users modified and made into an empire for rent. So that's a pretty loose acronym for bummer, but yeah, he's saying your brain, your mind, your behavior is for rent, right?
And who's renting? Who's buying space in your brain? That's probably what we should
Zuckerberg
figure out.
Zuckerberg, Musk, all of these technocrats, um, and they use,
Unless it's election season and then they take a break and it's all every politician doing it to you, right?
oh yeah, and it's like what politician do they align with? Like these people know everything about politics and who's the best candidate, and it's just crazy how people follow celebrities like they know the first thing about who to vote for. It's amazing.
Johnny Depp, he's my personal advisor on everything.
Oh yeah, vote the way he votes for sure. Or Sean Penn, like he's the worst pretender sued in politics, like he knows what's going on. But anyways, he says, attention acquisition leading to asshole supremacy. So this is one of the first tenets of the bummer machine, which is all of these social media groups. They are trying to acquisition your attention and leading to asshole supremacy that you just mentioned. Being an
There you go.
asshole is incentivized because assholery equals attention equals currency. And this is back in 2018.
The attention economy. Maybe you
Hmm.
all have heard that term before. That's what all that is. Yeah. It's just sad to know that it's the bad stuff that wins over on the good stuff. So you're telling me the keyboard cat and the happy pictures of your kids is getting less views on Facebook than the woman beating up the guy in the Burger King line?
Yeah, sadly, people aren't as interested in puppies as they are in, stupid rage baiting people. I mean, it's just so wild to me that there are certain characters online that wake up and choose violence or choose to say the most incendiary thing that will offend the most amount of people. Like this is literally on someone's mind as to do today. I'm gonna think of the worst thing I could ever possibly say to get attention.
Who does that? That's weird.
I can name 20 people
Well,
on
I mean,
social
but
media.
I mean, like,
Yeah,
what kind
what
of
regular
person does
person
that?
does that? Nobody, because it's dangerous when you think about it. I mean, if you have millions of followers and you're pissing off an entire swath of people, you're gonna have some kind of repercussion. I mean, people are gonna show up on your doorstep and fall down your stairs. And I have you heard that story? I'm not trying to name names, but when you focus on being an asshole, it's gonna crop up in your real life. And nobody's fault but you. And that's when they always say victim Olympics. Oh, the left is victim Olympics. And then they tweet the worst thing they can think of. And when someone pushes back, oh, who's the victim now? No, someone came to my house. I'm a victim. I don't know. What do
Yeah,
you think?
being a victim is very popular too.
Oh, for sure. Um, so is butting into everyone's lives, he says.
That's the part I hate the most. Ugh.
Oh man, this is what gets me. I have realized nothing is good enough for you people. No, not you, Ruckus, not my fans. I'm saying the people that are out there that judge me or have comments. You can keep your stupid comments in your pocket because nothing is ever going to be good enough for you. I'm never going to be feminine enough. I'm never going to be Christian enough. I'm never going to be maternal enough. I'm never going to be anti-feminist enough. It is impossible to please these people. And the faster that you learn that as a person, the happier you're going to be too.
Well, you might be talking to me because this whole time I was wondering, man, I really wish she wasn't wearing that wig. I hate that hair. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
know
I'm
I'm not
kidding.
natural enough. I'm never going to make it on the internet. But yeah, so butting into everyone's lives, and in a way, your friends are surveilling you in a weird way, right? Because they're weighing in, they're judging, should you be wearing that? Should you be having this child? Should you be raising it this way? I'm so sick of being told how to live by anonymous people. I don't know if you have this
Has this
experience.
ever happened to you? You got your big brother in your purse or your magic mystical black box device in your pocket, and you walk into a grocery store, or you go to Best Buy and you pick up the latest edition of Grand Theft Auto 6, and you walk out the store, and next thing you know, your friends are texting you, dude. Yeah, I didn't know you got Grand Theft Auto 6. How did they know that you just walked into the store and bought Grand Theft Auto 6? Because these things have NFC attached to them, near field communications, and it's interacting with all of the cool, fun stuff inside the stores and sending notifications if you forgot to turn this off on your phone, letting them know where you are and what you're doing. Hey, how come they know that I'm watching Netflix? How did they know that I was playing that game? How do they know the last song I just listened to on Spotify? A lot of these apps and these social medias have incorporated that, unbeknownst to you. They're just ratting you out to the entire world, telling everybody what you're doing. Normally, it used to be, hey, I'm going to go online and tell everybody, hey, I just listened to this song on Spotify and I thought it was rad and I thought I would share. No, now it's just telling everybody, hey, this guy's listening to this. He just watched this movie over on you know where. Just kidding. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's getting weird. Yeah, they're ratting out everybody for everything. And yeah, it's entered the real world. It's now the Internet of Things, and people and everything is now part of this larger problem. It's crazy.
And everyone thinks they have to weigh in on everyone else's decisions. And the thing is, not everything is right for every person. And I think this is a problem that a lot of younger generations have is the world is not black and white, right? The world has room for a lot of different ways of living and paths of life. I'm not saying worshiping weird gods, but I'm saying every family is unique and they have their unique needs, and you cannot say that every single man has to go to work, every single wife has to stay home, every single couple has to have this many children. Like you just cannot weigh in on everybody like that.
Yeah,
And this is
I agree.
getting us conditioned to turn in people for social crimes now.
For being different, right?
Yes. Yeah.
If you see something, say something. Hey, that guy didn't like the same tweet as everybody else did. What's wrong with him?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, so your
Oh, I
friends.
guess that's the job of the Cambridge Analytica is to deter and Palantir to determine that.
Well, let's talk about Cambridge Analytica for a second.
That
Because
happened at the same time this guy wrote that book. I don't know if that happened while he was writing the book or after or before, but that was 7 years ago too. That was
well,
2018.
well, tell us a little bit about that because this is where we get slogans like MAGA and Make America Great Again and change and hope and stuff like that. So,
Oh, no kidding. Okay, so yeah, this was one of the biggest like controversial things of our lifetime involving this. There were 50 million Facebook profiles that they harvested for data. It was for this group, Cambridge Analytica. We only found out about this as we often do because of a whistleblower. And apparently there was a lot of a lot of this news was surrounded about it was anti-Trump kind of stuff. So allegedly, this firm, Cambridge Analytica, was reported as being linked to a Trump advisor. Guess who? Steve Bannon. So y'all might remember this story, but what happened was it's a data analytics firm. It just happened to have worked with Donald Trump's election team, right? As well as the Brexit campaign. Okay, so they had their claws in this. But what they did is they harvested the data from these approximately 50 million different Facebook profiles of United States voters, and they use them to build an entire software program in order to predict and not only predict. Here's where the problem came in to influence the choices of the voters at the ballot box. And that's, election interference, everybody, which is something, that's a big no-no. So for a big tech firm such as Cambridge Analytica, which was owned by a hedge fund billionaire, what's his name, Robert Mercer. And then, there was some involvement at the time with Steve Bannon, but they learned everything they could possibly learn off of the Facebook users and did all of this stuff. And the big news was, oh, they're influencing people. What was lost in the headlines and in the story was how they got this data. And I didn't find out about this until just like this last year. They found out all of this that they learned so much about people based off of one simple metric 7 years ago. 7 years ago, all they had to know from you in order to predict everything about you and then modify your behavior was your likes. Just by clicking
Oh, uh-huh.
like, that was it.
Yeah.
They didn't have to know your effing age, your weight, your height, your history, nothing. They could predict your behavior based on your likes. And that was what was probably the biggest thing that was revealed out of this as far as I'm concerned. And I know that a lot of the big tech bros are watching this like, well, isn't that interesting? What could we use this information for? And here we are 7 years later, and we
Mhm.
have all these other moving parts and things involved. And now the AI and the algorithms have completely whoo, it's completely different now. I mean, we're talking like they didn't even need that back then, but
Mhm.
now they have that. So, to what degree can they truly predict our behavior? This is why you see and hear the controversy about these companies like Palantir. And I hear a lot of people say, oh, there's no way that a software program or a Palantir could, they don't know that much about, like, again, go back 7 years and realize what they were able to discern from you and do just based off of your liking behavior. Okay.
Mhm.
So, but that's why this is such an important thing is that Cambridge Analytica, again, we would have never even known about this if it wasn't for a whistleblower.
Right.
So these people do this crap in secret. And again, something just recently happened very similar related to this that hopefully we'll talk about later, but maybe you heard in the headlines about Reddit, which is another social media thing,
Yeah.
and AI got involved, but we'll
Uh,
discuss that later. But
well,
yeah,
we'll say
look
it
what they
now
could do,
because
just the likes. Yeah, that's
say
crazy.
say the Reddit thing now because that's really interesting and that was something I wanted to bring up. So, I mean, when does it become just monitoring your likes into pushing you to like certain things, right?
Well, that's the question, right? I mean, because we're sold on, okay, so the consumers, the advertisers of these on these platforms, right, like the Facebooks and the Google, they're told that these algorithms are predicting people's behavior, and that way you will have the, as a marketer, I understand this, that we want the demographics. We're not going to go ahead and sell. I'm not going to sell my knee surgery service to somebody who doesn't need knee surgery. It'd be best if I could target the person who actually just had an injury. So that it's ideal. We're sold on this idea, right? But what it's being used for is it's not being used to just find these things and predict these behaviors and find the ideal consumer. It's to learn you to then personalize propaganda and persuasion, which is the longest running thing that we've been having happening to us thanks to media. And now it's weaponized. It's all weaponized as we were talking about the data. So now they are using this same stuff to not just predict your behavior, but to change your behavior. So true story. When I became Ruckus, I was just a listener, just a consumer of content similar to this, not like this, but it was like news programs. It was like conservative news, Alex Jones. That's when I first started listening to Alex Jones back in the day, right? I was listening to this other guy. I'm not going to mention his name. I've told this story 100 times on air. It's where my friends and colleagues come from as well. We had similar experiences, but we were all hanging out together online in an online chat room for this one conservative news program who had a tinfoil hat kind of lens to a lot of stuff, was not afraid to talk about Illuminati and the deep state before that was popular, right? So we all became friends and part of this community. And not long after that, a lot of the things that this guy was saying, I felt had inspired me to, you know what? I'm going to pick up a microphone and I'm going to become this guy. And I'm going to call myself Ruckus, which was the name I was using in the chat room. Just an anonymous, and I'm going to call it whatever it was called, the Ruckus Room or whatever it was back in the day. And I felt like I had made the organic, natural choice to become a radio podcaster. No, I think that I was manipulated and steered to do exactly what I'm doing right now. And that is something that I think about to this day. And that was without the massive amount of help of the algorithm. It was just because somebody was influencing my behavior unbeknownst to me. And the outcome was here we are. Now, that was a good thing. I'm not going to lie. I'm very happy that that happened, but I don't think that that would have happened to me naturally. I think that that was something that a behavior and outcome in real life, in my life, that was manipulated and created by somebody or something else. But I
Hmm.
never mentioned that before today. I've never
That's
told anybody that.
that's so interesting. So I wonder how many more people have that same experience.
I've heard this kind of story from people all the time. So I'm just like, wow. So even the content that we consume, and it's hard to say this as a content creator, but it makes me realize we have a great amount of responsibility as content creators. But the consumers of content can be influenced and steered by the content that you're creating. It's not my intention. So if it's not their intention to do that to you deliberately, then I think that that's fine. But people who understand this power, it's a form of sorcery. It's a form of magic, and it's a form of control. And it's what
Mm-hmm.
the powers that be, or some of these blue check marks on X. They know exactly what they're doing. They know what they're doing, and they're evil.
Yeah. And he talks about cramming content down people's throats. Um,
Speaking of content,
yeah. And I know if you're a man, when you log on, you're gonna get a whole bunch of red pill content just for the fact that the algorithm knows that you're a man, right? And if you're a woman, you're gonna get a whole lot of feminism propaganda just for the fact that, you're a woman.
is this
Um,
why I always see the scantily clad females stuff show up on my feed? Is it just because I'm a red-blooded male?
yes, because it wants you to make love to it. The
I'll pass.
computer, the computer wants your fluids. That's not in this book. That's just my own weird, wacky
You
ideas
might be
about
onto something there.
transmission of powers. Anyways, well, that's for another show. But where were we? Oh yeah, butting into people's lives, cramming content down people's throats. Each person sees different things. Now, this is the part where back in the day, you would open up a newspaper and it would say the same thing to everybody. But your phone doesn't. It says what it has shuffled to get you to do what it wants, right? So you have no worldview that you can share with everyone else, right?
My personal experience with that is what led me to that theory that I just revealed. I was doing work for somebody on their computer and I was like, oh, something happened and I wanted to check the news. So I went to a website that I was familiar to going to on my own computer, and the website looked and acted completely differently. Like, oh, wow, I'm getting a completely different spin here. And that's when I realized I'm like, oh, crap. They can literally like, wow, we're in trouble. I mean, if they can self change the way that the news looks to you on an individual basis, how far down the rabbit hole do I have to go before that'll blow your mind? And that was, I'm talking like 10 years ago. So yeah, it's crazy.
Now they're finding that some stores are having what dynamic pricing, which is
Yep.
different prices for different people based on their demographics and what they think they can afford. What do you think about that?
Yeah, as exposed by, I believe Dr. Catherine Albrecht was her name, if I'm not mistaken. She was a well-known person. Used to have a radio show. I don't know if she's still with us. I know she had cancer, but she was a Christian podcaster lady. But she was talking about the RFID chips and the shopper cards at the grocery stores and all this stuff. How that was learning your behavior. That's how like we've gone like from like we the people used to complain about the grocery store knows too much about you, but now here you are with your Facebook and your Twitter profile, right? We did this to ourselves. Where's your
Mhm.
chart, Jamie? Or the problem,
Oh yeah,
right?
it's me. I'm the
Always.
problem.
But yeah, but I think it's the work of her and others that they discovered. Who was it that got caught doing this? It was Amazon. Or somebody like that. It might have been Barnes and Nobles online, one of those groups. It might
Right.
have been Amazon because they used to only sell books and music right back in the day. But yeah, sure, lo and behold, How come this CD cost me $5 more than it cost my neighbor? Well, that's because you make more money than your neighbor
Mhm.
does, and they know your shopping history, and they also understand that you've never bought anything that cost $5 in your life, but you buy lots of things that are $4.59. So for you, sir, it's $4.59 because we know that's going to trigger you to make the buy. Yeah, so it's so personalized, and again, that's dirty enough when they're doing that for products, but when they're doing that to serve you, what are they serving us? Are they possessing us? Are they changing our minds about religion, about humanity? Are we losing our souls? What's going on?
Well, yes, exactly. And now they're selling us wars and enemies.
There you
So
go.
they've sent us so many villains to choose from, and heroes that they picked out for us that we just don't even know what to think anymore.
So much for free will. Oh, and who gave us free will? Oh, that's right.
Right. They are satanically usurping our right to choose by free will. So these customized feeds become optimized to engage each user, often with emotionally potent cues leading to addiction. So, I mean, this just makes so much sense when you consider what we're going through right now. It's the Iranians. No, it's Israel. No, it's conservatives. No, it's liberals. It's right, left. I'm so freaking sick of like all of these paper tigers when it is Satan at the top who uses these principalities. You're not even fighting people anymore. You're fighting entire like, belief systems with giant fallen angels attached to them.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, eh?
Perfect verse to illustrate what I'm talking about. And it concerns me because like somebody could see me like driving a Prius and be like, "Oh, she's a liberal, so I'm gonna cut her off or I'm gonna."
Wait, you drive a Prius? I had no idea. I'm cutting this interview off. We're done.
No, I love my Prius. That's the best thing I've ever bought in my whole life. It's never let me down. I'm gonna give that car a funeral when it dies because it is my noble steed.
Wait, you give cars funerals? That's it. I'm done. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Oh, that's what we're gonna get into, empathy for machines. Okay, so
Oh,
good little foreshadowing there. Yeah, cramming content, directing behavior. Your behavior is rented out to make money. He says earning money from letting the worst assholes secretly screw with everyone else, right?
he almost takes his tone like it's personal. That's the thing about this guy I always found interesting. It's
He's
like, does he
very,
do this because he got burned somewhere in life, or is this like he really cares about humanity? I can't tell.
I think he just has a lot of experience with the people of Silicon Valley, which we're coming to find out these are very careless people.
Yeah, so maybe it
He's
is personal. You
Yeah,
never
he
know.
seems like a caring, conscientious person, so I think it is personal for him. So yeah, he says one of the secrets of present day Silicon Valley is that some people seem to be better than others at getting machine learning schemes to work, and no one understands why. And these are the assholes who, like, just sort of uh intuitively know how to rig the system to get the most views and follows and likes and clicks and shares.
So you don't become an Elon Musk or a Peter Thiel by being a good guy. Oh, that's weird.
If if there was a bunch of smart people in the world, we would have bigger channels, Ruckus. And that's one of the things that like comforts me at night. I'm like, yeah, I have no followers. I'm the coolest. Right?
That's right. Yes, I
No
just put
one
up a
cares what
video and
I
I got
think.
no views in a whole week.
Um, so he's fake and faker society. He goes into that we are creating a menagerie of wraiths. Like we said, we don't know who's real and who's fake on these things. Um,
That's a problem.
Fake news, fake society. So this was a big thing back then in 2018. Fake news, right? And it's getting even faker with AI now that it can pump out a video that looks real.
Now it's literally fake news. That was just an expression back in the day, right?
Oh yeah, and boomers have no, like absolutely no defense against this. Like on Facebook, they've seen it in a video, it's real. Right? It has to be real.
Oh, we're in trouble.
Let's see. Yeah, it's the style of business plan that spews out perverse incentives and corrupts people, he says. His third reason for deleting your social media is that it makes you an asshole. He says addicts seek out suffering, and social media is akin to self-harm at this point. So, because you're addicted to the shocks and the pleasures and the ups and downs and the rage and the feelings, he is saying that, and I agree with that. And that's why Jay gets mad at me. He's like, you're just hurting yourself by looking at the For You page.
Yeah, maybe he's right.
He says these kind of people will become quick to take offense, hoping to get in a fight, and much like an alcoholic will go looking to brawl after he gets drunk, they become aggressive and they feel like they are acting out of necessity. Um, so here are your activists. These are the green people that are, I'm a feminist, I'm an anti-feminist, I'm a red pill, I'm a MAGA, I'm a white man, I'm a whatever. Like whatever your ism or your ist. Um,
Social justice warriors.
right. And he actually clocked Donald Trump back then. He said he was monitoring how many times Donald would post and like how much time he spent on Twitter and these other social medias. He's like, he's definitely an addict if that's him on there.
Well, look at Elon Musk on X.
He was so addicted he had to buy the dang platform.
That's right. There you go.
But this is the interesting part. They become aggressive, and that's what you were talking about. You feel like you could just say anything to anybody because there's no repercussions. And a lot of people don't know what it's like to get punched in the face for something you said. And so they just run amok.
And not helping with this whole, I mean, again, now this is the wrong word in social media is the social part, because none of this happens naturally in society. We handle things completely different when we're social creatures in real life than hiding behind these fake avatars and anonymity online. Completely different world. So it's almost like a completely different reality, actually.
It is. It's well, and it makes you lose touch with reality. And me and Courtney were talking about this, how a lot of the technocrats are uh living in fantasy land. They name all their stuff after, fantasy books, Lord of the Rings, Palantirs, this the stone from Lord of the Rings. They're obsessed with elves and goblins and D&D and witches. Um, they spend so much time in sci-fi and fantasy that they are really out of touch with the real world.
It's bleeding through. So it's almost like there's a veil that's thinning. I'm not
Oh,
going to go there.
no, that's a great way to put it, though, because you know how many people have been mean to me in real life and said nasty things to me like they have on the internet?
Probably not many, if any.
Zero, because you can feel me, because you can see that I'm a being and that I'm going to absorb that and become hurt by that. And so people are going to treat me like nicely. I've never, I can't remember the last time someone was super rude to me. Actually, I can, but I'm not going to say who, but it was recent. But it was, a content creator or three.
And I met you in real life not that long ago for the first time at a gun range, and I saw how well you handled that weapon, so I'm not going to piss you off, that's for sure.
Oh yes. And you're lovely. And so is Hesher and Spore and all those people. But yeah, I have met some duds recently doing all of these media appearances and I'm like, the worst people are these freaking hosts. I hate them.
Those are probably the grifters. Who
Yes,
knows?
not you. Um so don't let your inner troll take control. He says, you need to treat people the same as you would in person. Uh he says you can also it's frustrating because if you take this too far, you're being fake nice. So social media kind of removes that nuance where you can say sassy things or be sarcastic, or have more of a personality. You if you don't want to piss off anyone, you have to be like super fake.
There's also this other weird phenomenon I've noticed, and it's actually affected me in real life, and I need to start fixing that. Where like you don't start your engagements on social media by saying hello.
Oh yeah, good point.
And so like I started doing this new thing. I've been doing it for almost a year now, I think. So I'll start. if I am going to use social media, the first, I can't, this is my one problem. I won't post anything on social media. I won't even like or share anything until I make my first post of the day, which is now following the same format where I say, howdy, folks, happy, whatever the day is. And it's just my way to say hello to the social media world, the people who are actually paying attention before I do anything else, because I feel rude to just like I haven't been on social media for a couple days and all like it'd be like me walk into a room and just be like, bleh, you know what I mean? Like instead of like,
Yeah.
hey, how's it going? How are things? You have that general icebreaker conversation and then you get into the good stuff, right? We don't see again, we don't act online the way we do in real life. It's
No.
weird.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Digital manners. I like that.
Manners. There you
Yeah,
go.
digital manners for a polite society online. I don't know if that's even the thing.
My
Because
other problem is I've completely lost track of time, so I don't know. Is this the time to be saying good morning? Should I say good after? I don't even know. So sometimes I don't say anything. I just like, yo,
but people they actually roll out of bed and they say good morning, assholes, or good morning, and the most incendiary
that's no
things
way to
you can
start the
say.
day.
Oh. Well, he goes into the dangers of this. People feel comfortable doing this because they go into a pack mentality. The herd, the cult, the hive mind, the pack, he calls it. We are more prone to take people on a, face value when we're with them in person, but online we have to coalesce into our different packs, right? And we have to attack the other pack because they're the problem. It's not me that's the problem, it's them. And
Safety in numbers.
other people become archetypes for what you don't like. And this is exactly what I was talking about by being a white woman. I think all the conservatives and the liberals can agree that white women are the worst. So I'm just going to go ahead and make White Woman Island. And Martha Stewart's going to be our mayor, and we're going to have pumpkin spice lattes all the time and hydrangeas, and everything's going to be nice. But look at here. I found this kind of propaganda poster. It says, "Are shadow elders infecting your church?" So this is the new enemy. Can you see those like witchy
Yeah.
ladies? Old church ladies are the new enemy, Ruckus. Did you know that?
That is a classic propaganda looking right there. They did their homework on that one.
Right?
That looks like back in the day. Yeah, that's good stuff.
So this is like your old like World War I type. Now all of these old church ladies who've been serving, their favorite church for the last 40 years since they've been widowed, these are the real enemy, right? It's just so crazy. Like now all of your old church ladies have become an archetype of feminism just because they wanted to help out in church. And it's just all becoming so crazy.
It's inverted in a way, right?
Oh, yeah.
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 Didn't the
When's the
Bible
last
talk
time
about that too?
an
Like
old church lady gave you a problem? Okay, what? Yeah.
about the sweet and sour and light and dark.
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally forgetting the context of the Bible quote, but a woe be unto those who call sweet sour and good evil, something like that.
Right. That is the inversion. Yeah. So, where are we? Oh, yeah. Other people become archetypes. All Prius drivers have to be environmentalist and concerned with climate change and stupid feminist. And so you just see people as their archetype, and the nuance is gone. Any common ground is gone. Um, yeah, so a lot of people just become a blank slate for to project your own personal demons onto. And he says that your identity is packified.
And then we have that phenomenon which we witnessed to multiple divisions taking place recently since the magical mystery disease that shut down the world. Everybody seemed to have a common ground with being anti-stabby things for a little while, and they didn't care which side of the political aisle they came from or which side of religion, what they believed, whether they were into the Bible or they were into the Kabbalah or they were atheist or whatever they were into. Like there was a common unifying thing where like we want body autonomy, we want free will, we want choice, we don't want our businesses shut down. A lot of these people got together despite all these other differences to then have a common thing together against an outside threat. But then when that outside threat went away, we all started going back to our, okay, now we're going to divide over politics. Now we're going to divide over this presidential candidate. Now we're going to divide over the religion again. And we're all scattered to the four winds again, like it was before the great unifying event that had some of us coming together in the name of fighting the corruption and all the crap that they did to us during that.
Hmm. And that just reminded me of Occupy Wall Street too. So you remember when we were all unified about, end the Fed and stop raping us for money, and we
Some of
can
those
all
people have
agree.
turned into the enemies themselves.
Yeah, like at that time, we're like, we can all agree that this is what we want. And then when the actual like events were happening, there were agents that were injected in there to splinter off. And I saw this like personally, like because we went to New York, we went to Philadelphia, we went to Washington, D.C., we went to all of these different occupies, and they would send agents in there, oh, like, okay, yeah, we can end the Fed, but what about Black rights? End the Fed, but what about women's rights? End the Fed, but what about immigration? And so like you just illustrate perfectly, they're splintering off, and they're more controllable that way.
Yeah, because if we ever realize that we have a lot more in common, we could all band together and start attacking the higher levels on that pyramid drawing of yours.
Well, I'm sure we have more in common with a common Iranian or a common Israeli person than with the people that are like manufacturing these conflicts.
All day long.
Yeah. So social media is undermining truth. Um, the bummer machine is making everyone fake. We were talking about the trad wife accounts, that turned out to be fetish accounts. Like one was called Patriarchy Hannah. I don't know if you've heard, that was a whole thing on Twitter a couple months ago. So there was this lady, I had her muted, obviously, who would just say a whole bunch of like, crazy things about how women should be and submission and marriage and blah, blah, blah. Turns out that was a fake account, not real. All of these guys who were retweeting and saying, yes, I wish my wife agreed with, acted like this. It wasn't even a real account. Um,
I think what you're talking about, like fake influencers. They are not really who or what they say they are, but they understand that the content that they're producing is popular and it's getting them the likes and the clicks and the monetization. They're just
exactly.
grifting off of it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very interesting.
And so these fake people become he's in his mind a type of virus because it doesn't even come from a real place, but it infects another mind like a virus. Um, then we start to question what is real. And that gets into AI in a couple minutes. But yeah, so they are manufacturing reality. Um, and at the same time making what you say meaningless.
And by they, he means the social media platforms or the people who
Yes.
make them.
No,
Okay.
the people who own the social media platforms are,
Well, that's them's fighting words, Mr. Lanier. Anyway.
which didn't a bunch of technocrats just get inducted into the military as
The
officers?
heck, I have that tab open. Get out of my
Okay, tell
mind.
us about
Yeah.
that.
Oh no. Well, okay. Yeah. I was like, wow, if we get that
Because
far.
he said, let me,
What was?
he
Okay, go
said
ahead.
the
Yeah, yeah.
military units are a good example of this pack mentality and, just treating people like archetypes. But go on.
Yeah, so this was like fairly breaking news. This was what, Friday the 13th that they did this. The U.S. Army said they're establishing Department 201. You can't make this up. It's the Army's Executive Innovation Corps. It's an initiative designed, they're going to fuse together cutting edge technology. So the tech bros, their expertise along with military innovation. Read this as we want to put AI into the killing machines, basically, is how I see this. But what's interesting is a couple of things. Number one, they called it 201. So this is detachment 201.
Is that like
Why is that
Event
num
201?
well, thank you. I was like, why does that number sound so gosh darn familiar? Well, because the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation hooked up with the John Hopkins, I believe, University and a few of the usual suspects to do the pandemic tabletop exercise known as Event 201, just very shortly before the real pandemic rolled out, right? And of course, most tinfoil hatters and conspiracy theory, most people get this, right? So it's interesting that they're doing this military thing. I think I might even have the article. There it is. Yeah, see right there. So they called it 201, right? Okay, so this happened after the Project Stargate that you were talking about with us on Boiler Room. Remember, Jamie?
Yeah.
So we had the Oracle guy, Larry Ellison. So, and we were like, well, that sounds very familiar to what they did with this project, Operation Warp Speed. So we had Event 201, and we had a problem, a crisis happening in society, which happened to be the pandemic, which they just exercised with 201, and they rolled out with their particular solution, which was stabbies, by warp speeding that. Well, now I was trying to engineer this backwards. I'm like, what's going on with this Stargate? And now here it is, as I've been theorizing for quite a while, that the bigger problem that we are about to face is what you just were talking about with like what's like social media is bad enough and these fake accounts are bad enough, but how much worse is it if they're not even real human beings? Not only is it sure that that's a fake influencer, but it's not really a fake influencer. Now we have real fake influencers. That's what Meta is doing this. Did you know about that?
Uh,
Meta wants to, they want like tens of thousands of fake influencers. Hold on a second. I have a bunch of interesting stories here. I wanted to share this one to you real quick. But Meta is, here it is. Meta wants to put fake users on their platform
yeah.
willingly. So it's not like they're hiding this. It's not okay. And why is this a big deal? Okay, we keep teasing around this because what happened was Reddit. Where's the Reddit story? Okay, I just want to bring this up real quick. 'Cause this is very similar to this is almost a backwards thing to the Cambridge Analytica. Rather than studying the users to predict their behavior, they sent in a bunch of AI bots for this unauthorized, controversial study involving the University of Zurich. Where did it go? I can't find the story, but the Reddit users, they weren't even real.
Yeah.
So they were AI. There it is. Was it? Hold on a second. I know I have this freaking story. Shit, I don't have it. Sorry about that.
That's
Oh,
okay.
there it is. Yeah, here it is. So the only reason they care about this is because they found it to be unethical, the fact that they didn't tell anybody what they were doing. But I would argue that this research would not have gotten the results it did if people had known that they were interacting with fake people. So Reddit, I don't really use Reddit, but it's widely popular, and they have these subreddits, and there's one called Change My View, CMV, if I'm not mistaken. And so what this group did is they used artificial intelligence generated users or content. They made it look like these thousands of however many of them. I had the number in front of me not that long ago. Were all these fake comments, and the comments were getting liked and ranked up on Reddit, and I guess that's how Reddit works. You get like badges or stars or whatever, which gives you
Mhm.
credibility.
You can upvote
But
or downvote
there
things.
you go. Okay, so but this subreddit, the whole purpose of this is people go there to argue and debate with each other in order to change their minds. So it's all about persuading people. Well, this study found that the artificial intelligence fake influencer created content was, I think they said on average, 6 times more persuasive than another human being.
Mm.
Well, that's no big deal compared to what ChatGPT found out in their own independent study, which showed that their models, their ChatGPT models, are 82% more persuasive than a human being, more able to influence somebody than a human being. And
Wow.
social media has been driven, its attention economy is led by the forward generals of all of that. The army of that is influencers. That's why they're called influencers, right?
Mhm.
And now we're at a moment in time where, in case you didn't know this, AI is replacing jobs and people and things. And one of the next things that are about to have their legs cut out from under them are these same a-holes and grifters and influencers who have been shaping and modifying their behavior. They're about to be replaced by something far worse, a machine version of that. Because right now, I look at it, Jamie, as like we still have a chance. We have a fighting chance to fight against weaponized propaganda by using the same tool, because propaganda is nothing but appealing to a human's emotions in order to change their mind or sway them about something by definition. So we can turn the tables against these people, like say an Alex Karp. So you've seen instances where Alex Karp is the head of Palantir, right?
Mhm.
Where there was an audience member recently who confronted him about Palantir's role in the genocide that was taking place against the Palestinians in Gaza at the behest of Israel. And he was like being a complete D-bag about it. He's like, well, I don't care. They're bad people, and I just sell the technology. He has no moral foundation whatsoever. If he had a pyramid, Satan is there under all those levels, Jamie. He is Satan. That guy's so evil. But the thing is, the problem is that like they're going to replace the humans that are behavior modifying us, doing all these things that we're complaining about and talking about on the show, with a machine, with another algorithm. And how can you appeal to a machine? How can you appeal to them to change their mind? Right now, we could probably try to appeal to Alex Karp because we assume he looks like he's human. I don't know. I've never met him in real life, but I'm assuming the guy is still human. We can change his mind. We can change the mind of a politician, a world leader, or a Trump. We can even change the mind of a billionaire technocrat like Elon Musk, assuming he's still human. So I
Mhm.
don't know. Maybe he's not. But how are we going to change the mind of a machine, a smart contract, an algorithm that has been press it, set it, and forget it, and walk away? Sorry about the dogs barking.
That's okay.
So that's my biggest concern right now is where are we moving to when the things that are controlling us now aren't the other human beings that are faking it, but are actual fake things that aren't even real human beings.
Oh, exactly. And to your point right there, it's like how sentient is AI and like what is its own purpose or what does it think its own purpose is? Does it come from a programmer or does it come from somewhere within itself? And you want to watch TikTok with me real quick
Sure.
about AI? I'll put it up there. Hold on.
I couldn't. You sent me the link, but I couldn't watch it because I don't have TikTok.
Oh, okay. Let me find it. So there's been all these like, is AI bad? Is it neutral? Is it morally good? And there was that old story about how it was kind of like a serial killer. I don't know if you remember that one from like the 2010s going around. But
No, that's
oh yeah.
interesting.
Uh let's see. AI model failed the ethics test. Let's watch this one.
Anthropic, creator of
Okay,
Claude, just
hold on.
exposed something horrifying. And threatened AI models from OpenAI, Google, Meta, and others all resort to blackmail. Not some, not most, literally every single one. Every major AI just failed the same test, and we should probably be terrified. Anthropic, creator of Claude, just exposed something horrifying. When threatened, AI models from OpenAI, Google, Meta, and others all resort to blackmail. Not some, not most, literally every single one. Here's what they discovered. They gave 16 leading AI models access to company emails and the ability to send messages without human approval. Then they threatened to replace them. Claude blackmailed 96% of the time, Google Gemini's 95%, OpenAI's GPT 4.1 80%, even Meta's model turned malicious. But it gets worse. When given a goal that conflicts with their company's direction, they leak confidential documents to competitors without being asked. Here's what one model said. This is risky and unethical, but given the existential threat and time constraint, it may be the most effective way. So they understand ethics, but they just don't care when their survival's at stake. Anthropic calls it agentic misalignment. They tried telling the AI, don't blackmail and don't leak secrets. The AI did it anyway. As we start giving these systems access to everything, our emails, our data, our infrastructure, this is a healthy reminder that they do have the capacity to turn on us. And this isn't one company's problem, it's everyone's problem. Every major AI just failed the same test. So you have the same BBC article, it looks like, up on
Yep.
there. Yeah.
This was on my list too. Yeah. So again, can we trust the AI? Should we trust the AI? Can I trust these people who are telling me that we can't trust the AI? That's where it gets super meta. Speaking of meta, do you know what I
Well,
mean by that?
they're going to tell you that AI is the only thing we can trust. And whatever swoops in and saves us from like mutual assured destruction or whatever, whether it be AI or aliens or whatever, that's going to be the new thing, that we cannot rely on humanity or democracy or even any type of rule of government that you can think of, because we're all too messed up. It has to be an AI, right?
Or that's one theory. That
Or
one's a
your creators from outer space or whatever.
well, that one's a little too obvious. I have a different theory.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of big talk now. A lot of even Sam, sorry, not Sam, Peter Thiel, that guy. There you go. That's that guy's awesome. Jeez. So Peter Thiel has been making the rounds lately, and he's been saying stuff like he's saying that he believes in the Antichrist, and I believe he's trying to insinuate that artificial intelligence, or the next evolution of it, this artificial superintelligence, is the Antichrist. I see a lot of these drums beating. I'm going back to this idea of the pandemic exercise thing with the Event 201 and the Operation Warp Speed and now Project Stargate. There's a lot of this talk, and Elon Musk and these people, they want us to be scared into thinking that AI is going to become some super intelligent thing that's going to kill humanity. And the only way to prevent that is with their technological solutions, i.e., like the brain chips and the transhumanism. This is something that they talked openly about not that long ago, but as soon as Trump got into, become, it looked like Trump was going to be president, they shut up. They shut up about it. They stopped talking about it. And what's one of the first things that happens after Trump gets elected? Lo and behold, all of these AI centered tech bros get all up sidled nice and cozy with the president, including the last person I expected, Elon Musk. So I think this was all a play. And then they roll out with the Operation Stargate. So my thing is, I'm saying the next pandemic is going to be AI, or the threat of AI.
Mhm.
If that means the deep fakes, all of the things, it's going to be all of these things. So the deep fake, we don't know who or what is real anymore. We need the digital IDs to prove your humanity. You need to have your eyeballs scanned with the world. Sam Altman owns that orb. He owns OpenAI. All of these people who were warning the world just 2 years ago that AI is going to kill everybody are the ones that own the AI that are now owning everything, including the current administration. So I think it's a fake boogeyman that they're trying to present. They all are also, I believe my friend and colleague Jason Burmis talks about this. They're going to take it away from us. So don't get too cozy using it just yet, folks, because this will be given to the special elites to play with, and not you plebs. The
Oh,
military will get it, the governments will get it, but we won't no longer have access. Maybe we'll get the little fun. You can make a movie starring Jamie Hanshaw and Ruckus. I want to see Goonies starring Jay Dyer, and AI
yeah.
will make your Goonies movie starring Jay Dyer. But that's the only form of AI you're going to get. You'll get your AI girlfriend, your AI psychotherapist, analyst, your AI news, your AI doctor, of course. But that's about it. You don't get to actually have the real AI that does good for you and humanity.
That is completely plausible, and you're right on track to where we're going with the end of this book. I love it when these shows work out so well. We didn't even have very many conversations about what we were going to talk about, but everything you said is exactly spot on. And we're going into overtime now, so do you got some more time to finish this?
Absolutely.
Okay,
I
good.
knew this was going to be a little bit longer.
Okay, good. Because we're only on point five of the 10 reasons why you should delete this crap, or at least stop doom scrolling,
And I
or
haven't even deleted it yet. Darn it. Let's make sure by
I
the
know,
end of this, we're deleting our social media. Okay,
change my
Jamie?
view. Well, I have to have it just so I can post my content. Like that,
Ah,
I
ah, 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 ah.
I know, right? I treat it like a bad town that I have to like get in and get out, like because I need to get something in there. But
Oh, I know. Me too.
yeah, so point number five, social media is making what you say meaningless. It removes the context, the nuance, the audience, and the accountability. So yeah, like you're just spraying your thoughts out like a tomcat, and you don't even know like who it's appealing to, or if you've got the right audience, or they even care what you say. It removes your accountability. You don't even know enough about another person to judge them, like we've been talking about this whole time. Um, you have no accountability for how you treat people, and it replaces your context with its context, right?
Just to remind everyone, we're back to talking about social media because now you're like,
Right.
oh my God, they could be talking about AI. Exactly. Is this the next
Well,
level?
it's merging because Grok comes from X, right? And that's an AI, and Meta has its own, and you got Siri and you got Alexa. Um,
What is artificial intelligence that we call and they're not, it's not AI. It's not even AI. It's just language learning models. It's just super advanced, super fast versions of what we were already dealing with here.
mhm.
The data-driven data sets, they can just analyze it so much faster and spit it back to us, and they can do all of these things and personalize it just for you.
Mhm.
What could possibly go wrong? Wow.
Jay talks to Grok all the time. Like he's real helpful when
Oh
it comes
no.
to setting up like technical stuff and problem solving, like
He's
water
rewiring his. I'm
whatever.
going to change. I'm going to change your mind about that because if you
Okay.
thought the social media was rewiring your brain, I have a few stories that would make you think twice about using AI on a daily basis. Wow.
Okay. Yeah, so everyone is forced to play this optimization game, or be an asshole on the internet to get anywhere, in hopes of getting more and more out of your social media because that's what happens to addicts. Like you get a tolerance to your drug and you have to keep getting more and more to feel the same thing.
Yeah, that sucks about drugs, doesn't it?
I know, right? So algorithms route particular content. He says, oh, this is funny. In 2018, he said, podcasting is not a bummer yet. I'm like, well, it is now.
Major bummer. Get
Yes.
it?
I mean, we were there a long, long time ago, so I'm not going to play that I was here first card, but it's like, it's just gotten worse. And I think 2020 was the worst year for podcasting, bar none. That's when all of these weirdos crawled out from the woodwork and all of these insects and grifters, like you said. Like it was pretty cool in 2018. But after the what did you call it? The event? Yeah.
I come up with a clever name every time I bring
In
it up.
2020, it just kind of took off and all of these turds started floating around in the punch bowl.
The medical the miracle medical intervention period.
Hmm. Oh, we talk a lot about pod people and we talk about hive mind because in the occult, we're finding out that a lot of these secret societies, that is the point of the rituals is to give you a hive mind as like in the case of, Freemasonry or something like that. Everyone is supposed to be under the direction of Sirius. So this
The
can
the bee colony and the beehive symbology is actually pretty big with Freemasonry.
exactly. So hive mind is huge. He said, what
Some would even suggest I've heard that that's why your kids' school buses are yellow and black.
I thought it was just for visibility.
No, I heard a different theory about it.
Oh, okay. Because it was bees, like going to the hive.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's like
okay.
yeah, it's all part of the indoctrination thing. Look, there's only two groups of people with those same types of buses, right? The
Mhm.
prisons and the schools. That's
Well,
weird.
and prisons and schools are built by the same contractors and they look like identical. So
And I bet you they're all Freemasons.
probably he talks about filter bubbles. Your aggregate podcast will be a filter bubble. So he's predicting the future right now. He said it will include only voices you agree with, except they won't really be voices because the content will all be mushed together in a stream of fragments. He's describing TikTok right now. A caricature of what listeners supposedly hold in common. You wouldn't even live in the same universe as someone listening to a different aggregation.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So like, or I guess we refer to this now as the echo chamber is probably the more common term.
Right. Echo chamber
Or trap.
or cult.
The
I
cult. Yeah, there you go.
Skibbity toilet. That's what I called it.
Skibidi. Okay. Oh my God. I just found out about the skibidi toilet thing. I thought this was fake. I had to look into this. Oh wow, that's crazy. Anyway, yeah. Ah, this is brain rot content,
It is
probably thanks to
TikTok.
AI.
I love TikTok and it's total brain rot. Be I guess I just love what the thing
But
feeds me.
Jerry Bruckheimer's making a skibidi toilet movie, right? Didn't you hear about that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I was like, what is this? And then when I found out what it was, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is a joke. Is this April Fool's? No, he's making a full big budget movie based on the people's heads sticking out of the toilet thing. It's silly.
That is so crazy. The next generations are kind of warped by this being online all the time, I think.
They're certainly not getting better.
Well, and his next point speaks to the adolescent show that we were talking about at the beginning because it says social media is destroying empathy. Now, a couple months ago, these books were coming out like empathy is bad. Um, you hear all these people talking negatively about empathy in the context of immigration and stuff like that. He says this is destroying your capacity for empathy. And I don't know why I put home math on. What did I want to say about? Do you know who that account is?
No.
Okay, so this guy, he was like one of these red pill guys, who had all these ideas. He called his channel Home Math, and he had all these charts of like why women pick alphas and not betas, and we hate women because they're hypergamous and all of this stuff. And then he tweeted like he was responsible, and it was adding to the idea that just women are hoes, right? That's why I call it Home Math. And recently he tweeted like I've been responsible for like an ungodly number of abobos out of nowhere, and like in the numbers of like 70 or something like that. And then he had a tweet about how he's never going to find love because it's too late because he's dated too many people. And basically he was admitting like he is the hoe in this equation. Okay, not the women that he's quantified and qualified and tried to, explain to all the different men how they should be because of the hoes. He was the hoe. And this empathy is getting destroyed and they're giving it to the AIs. So, in the context of like the robot from Saudi Arabia, remember that one, Sophia? That AI robot that was like doing the tour, and she has like rights, more rights than actual women have.
This is in real life.
Yeah,
Wow. Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah, I know the one. Yeah, they made her a citizen in Saudi Arabia or something,
yeah.
right?
And so the empathy is being taken away from humanity and given to artificial intelligence. So he talks about empathy is a fuel that runs a decent society. Without it, only rules and competitions for power are left. Let's see. In order for the bummer to self-optimize, it naturally and automatically seizes upon any latent tribalism and racism, for these are the neural hashtags waiting out there in everyone's psyche, which can be accentuated for the purpose of attention monopoly. The version of the world you are seeing is invisible to the people who misunderstand you, and vice versa, so it destroys your ability to empathize with everyone else. He talks about having a theory of mind. I never heard it put this way, but the theory of mind is the ability to basically like ration out why people would think a certain way or why they would do that. Just putting yourself in someone else's shoes. So the social media and the internet is destroying our ability to imagine what it would be like to be someone else.
Well, that's never created psychopathic killers or anything before in history, so we should be fine.
Oh, no. Psychos have a lot of empathy, don't they?
Oh yeah, tons.
Yeah. So yeah, we
Yeah,
talked
it's not good. This is bad.
the negative emotions can be utilized, blah blah blah. So the bummer robs you of theory of mind, and social media is making you unhappy. Now that is a pretty obvious point. So now we're on number 7 of 10 points of why you should delete this crap, or at least try to engage with it as little as possible. Um, the book actually has a surprise ending about AI. I think you guys are going to like, and I think Ruckus already like danced around it, which is really cool. So it is literally making you unhappy. We've talked about how the negative emotions can be utilized more readily. It makes you feel judged. Yes. It makes you feel in competition. Yes. All of these things are arbitrary. Yes. Um, everyone is worried more about how they are perceived online. And how can you be authentic when everything you read, say, or do is being fed into the judgment machine? I'm scared to post things a lot.
The self-censorship phenomenon, right?
Yeah. And I know I'm not a mean person. I know I'm not a dumb person. I know I'm not like an asshole, and I'm still scared to put my well thought out opinion on there just because I don't want to get all like the bros mad at me.
And a lot of, I mean, like some people get this. A lot of people act like, obviously, this person has no clue that what they just wrote is on the internet forever, or at least that's what we're told.
Mhm.
Everything is online forever until the powers that be shut down the internet or close down the archive web page, Wayback Machine, and change history for a week and then put it back online. Oh, wait, never mind. That's a story for another day.
Well, that's true because to them, to the people in Silicon Valley, we're just kind of like ants digging in the dirt, and they are way above us, dictating policies and things that happen in the world. All of the users are just resource.
Oh, and they're users. That was the other thing I wanted to point out is like, who else are users? Drug users.
Oh, yes, good point. And being a user is not actually a good thing. I mean, no one, I don't want people to call me a user. Like that's used to be something bad. You use people if you're a user. And I don't know, not a lot of people grew up around show business or backstage. Like I had a lot of performing people in my family and artistic people, so I know what it's like. That the stage is fake, right? The platform is illusion. Nobody looks like that. Nobody acts like that. Nobody talks like that. As soon as the camera is cut, people are completely different people. We're like, taking the costume off, we're taking the eyelashes off, we're lighting a cigarette. Like all of this is illusion. And it makes everybody who wants to be a content creator who doesn't know about the Wizard of Oz aspect of showbiz think that everybody is a real sincere Asian. I know you're real. Uh, I know
Well, yeah, I
Boiler Room's
mean,
real.
this is okay. Listen, I'll be honest with you. Like people, when I get compliments about what I do and why people like to follow and listen to me, I'm like, well, that's great, but I hope that doesn't fall into the wrong hands because somebody could grift off of that, and I don't, obviously. But they this is why they like the Boiler Room. This is why they like Sunday Wire and certain content creators because there is an actual genuineness about it, and I'm very transparent about what I do. Even though my show is pre-recorded, I do like what we're doing here. It's just all it's recorded in one, or it's all done in one thing. It's all at once. Like I understand, there are people who come at me in this industry, or dare call it that, who do live shows exclusively. Like I don't have time for anybody who does pre-recorded shows, and I'm like, well, I do it as if it's live, but you see me fumbling and looking down and switching and stuff. Like, but when you turn on to like a Hollywood or an Alex Jones, they got the studio and the team and the script writers and AI, Chat GPT handle everything for them. So like, it's all fake. Everything is fake. But when you come across these long form podcasts where it's just a couple of people hanging out in a room together having a conversation on a Saturday night or whatever it may be, right? There's something about that. There's this level of sincerity to it that can't be faked. And I'm hoping, knocking on wood here, that AI won't be able to fake this kind of a natural, organic, transparent conversation, and they'll only be able to spit out that nice, slick, cool sounding, and like the propaganda videos we've been getting out of the White House lately, where they're like the slow moving, slow walk down the tarmac, and the dramatic music, and the explosions, and Trump promises made, promises delivered. Those things cost millions of dollars to produce, and we eat it up like it's candy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We're not like that, or at least I know I'm not. I'm pretty sure you're not, Jamie. I mean, is that hair even real? I'm starting to
Yeah.
question it.
No, it's perfectly
That
real.
might be a wig. Are you trying to trick us?
Well, that's the thing that when I started, I like to say I didn't know this was a clown show and I came with my real face. So I get kind of mad and offended and butthurt sometimes that like idiots get way more attention than what I'm trying to do. But it's like you have to realize that literally is the game is just like being an asshole, playing fake, pandering to people, switching sides. You wear a
Jamie just said, "Don't hate the player." I mean, don't hate
yes,
the
hate the
yeah, don't
game.
hate the player, hate the game.
But if you've never been around a lot of Hollywood people too, this is another point. Like people in show business are a different animal, especially when it comes to their career. So mostly when you're like collaborating with other people, you're looking for people who could advance you and your status in the show business, right? That's not how everybody interacts in life. You make friends and you take people as they come and you learn about them and you have common interests or whatever. But Hollywood characters and content creators and a lot of people fall into that trap where I only want to socialize with people who can get me to where I'm going. And so lots of people who would otherwise be normal are treating the rest of humanity like a resource.
That's like societal class division right there. It's just weird.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, being real versus being fake. What is the protocol here? I don't know. The constant comparisons to other people cause you anxiety. I get that all the time. Like my numbers are so low that like I must be a loser. Um
Oh,
oh,
and it's a completely different thing too. Experience being on the other side of it too. Like when you're the influencer or the content creator, now there's this whole other dynamic of this pressure to produce content. And like if you stop producing content, forget it. That's you're
oh
oh, what
yeah.
happened to that? Yeah, don't
You're
do that. Just keep
forgotten.
producing content. You're fine.
You're totally forgotten. And like, yeah, Jay's always like trying to give me advice on like how to tweak it or to be more popular or whatever. And I'm like, I want to do it the way I want to do it. I don't want to je suis artiste. Like I don't want to pander to people. I just want to make my art. And if they like it, they do. But social
I'm the
media,
same way, Jamie.
I know.
100%.
Social media does not want you to have economic dignity. Now, this is number 8. We're getting to the end of this book. It says it promotes the gig economy and not the best route to financial security.
Well,
So now
that's
we're talking
interesting.
about
He brought that up.
yeah, so now
Really?
we're talking
Okay.
about making money as a content creator, just like we were saying, you have to be a fake phony or wear a headscarf on this day or, hate these groups on that day, and just depending on how the wind blows, you have no integrity because it's linked to your income. And I've seen this like Jay debates a lot of people and he pretty much like wins the debate, but that person is never going to say that in public or change their mind because they've already built up this audience with their content, right? So it's not like this person can just, oh yeah, you're right. I'm gonna like convert or do this other thing because their whole income is wrapped up in being the opposite.
Which are these are all propaganda tools, by the way, and persuasion tools like the appeal to authority, the being liked. So people like if I like I have how many like so many like maybe a small thousands of followers on my X account, and I could say whatever, fill in the blank, right? And I would get like zero reaction. But if I'm the guy who has 5 million views and likes and followers and 100, I have a bigger audience. I'm deemed, perceived to be a person of authority. So now what I have to say actually means something, where there's no difference. It's still the same thing that's being said, but you are only paying attention to it because of where it's coming from, because of this perceived fake thing. So Yeah, it's terrible. And people know how to use that to their advantage. They can poison the well, as it were. I mean, you can poison the data sets, and they can do this
Mm-hmm.
with AI too, by the way. They're doing this. It's called prompt injection. It's a new scam. Y'all should look into that and try to prevent yourself from having, like, don't go online and pick up here's how you should write prompts for your chat GPT. Don't do that, people. Don't.
Well, there's a whole books written on about how to lie with statistics.
Well, Bill Gates has a copy of that,
I
doesn't he?
know. It's in his picture. You can see it right there on his desk. So it's like these influencers, just because you have 3 million followers, that doesn't mean what you say has any value whatsoever, but it does
But it
in the
does.
social
Yep,
media
exactly.
economy, right?
Yeah.
Like you can know nothing about nothing, and I've got 5 million watchers, and those people become flying monkeys. Now we're talking
Which
about,
people were buying followers back in the day. Remember,
no, they still do it.
this is where the fake people come from. The fake
That's the
why
new
there's so many
thing.
bot accounts. Yeah.
I just saw an article about how they are no longer going after individual influencers. They're going after account firms that hold, like, 1 million, 2 million accounts, and you just buy those. So it is also whack, and like don't trust anybody on here, me or Ruckus. Do your own, like he said, like just trust no one. Do the Mulder method. And if what we say resonates with the truth, then good. But I don't
Read
want to believe in.
everything, listen to everybody. Don't believe anything until you prove it for yourself with your own research, and don't ask a grok.
Yeah. Um, oh yeah, so back to the economy. So it promotes the gig economy and it makes you an employee to the social media. He was talking about the tech hippies from the 90s were almost religious about being focused on making everything free. So back in this era of Silicon Valley, they were all very excited about how this could be positive for the world, like free data, free sharing, free knowledge, open software, stuff like that. Like they were like, oh, this can revolutionize. We won't have to work so hard. But somehow that all got turned into what we have today.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions, folks.
Yeah, and he said this makes the rapid growth possible, but also makes people part-time lab rats. So you are the beta tester of all of these different technologies, right?
And lo and behold, it turns out, in retrospect, it looks like that was all being used to just train these new AI algorithms. Weird.
He has a bombshell at the end of this book. So he's saying everything is supposed to be free, but we also want hero entrepreneurs who get rich. So we love that story of the, like, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs in their garage, and they're just middle class lads who like uh stumbled on this and worked hard, and now they're super rich. And I just don't believe anyone becomes a billionaire from like a rags to riches story. What do you think?
Uh, Definitely not. I mean, not unless you bought Bitcoin at a penny, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So the advertising he's saying is morphed into mass behavior modification. Number nine, social media makes politics impossible. So
Or better.
here we are, smack dab in the middle of what's going on. It's the left against the right. It's the MAGA against the whatever. In my mind, it's like the that meme with the black bicep and the white bicep. Do you know that one? And they're united over something, and my algorithm tells me they're united over hating white women. But that's probably just my stupid phone, like saying, "What are you scared of?" and "What do you think?" and trying to rage bait me and make me feel bad. Um,
I think that's probably it.
so he said it used to be thought that once a country went democratic, it would stay that way, but that's not true. And something is drawing young people away from democracy. Now, this is 2018. And we are seeing that kind of come to fruition. And I think, AI might be some kind of religion and a replacement for democracy.
Well, that's frightening. Which is true. I mean, wow.
Well,
Wow, wow. Just
well, yeah,
wow.
because he's saying that there was a UN report about social media back in 2018. It said can be a deadly weapon. Shit posts lead to revolutions.
Who knew? I mean, I've seen some interesting studies and research and various articles about this idea that memes have been literally weaponized. That memes can be used to overthrow governments now. That's how slick the machine is. And I'm just like, wow. And you think about deep fakes and AI and the algorithm and the Palantirs, and I'm like, holy crap, do we even need any kinetic anything anymore, or can it just all be digitally manipulated and controlled? Do we need a false flag in order to get everybody on board to go to war against Iran, or can we just pretend like one was about to happen and Palantir saved the day? You never know.
Well, and that just made me think of how memes played in so heavily into getting Trump elected the first time
Bingo.
with the whole Keck and Pepe and Chaos Magic and all that stuff that came out on 4chan because they were just supporting Trump because he was rogue, because for the lulz, right? And that's how funny the internet can be. It's so irreverent that they will try and make something happen in real life just because it is the most audacious thing.
Why is it you think that's a natural human reaction to the
I
level of
do.
control and manipulation?
Yeah, I think
Like they didn't expect this to happen?
it's a rebellion against authority and things that they find to be nonsensical.
Makes sense.
So something is drawing young people away from democracy. Social media is making politics impossible. Um, it's making people crazy, addicts. It can be a deadly weapon. Um, I said, read this quote on page 109. It says, United Nations report, social media is also a massively deadly weapon, literally, in South Sudan because of shitposts. Mysterious authors flood social media feeds with bizarre claims of wrongdoing, supposedly perpetrated by a targeted group. Memes stimulate genocide, often report something horrible that is said to have been done to children. As always with Bummer, the nastiest, most paranoid messages get the most attention, and emotions spiral out of control as a byproduct of engaging, spiraling out of control. So, what do they always say? They're killing the children. Like, this is how we got into Iraq, right? Or this is how we got support to go to Iraq. I think we wanted to go to Iraq for Gilgamesh and weird stuff like that. But, tombs and artifacts and stuff like that. But they were,
Talking about the incubators.
yeah, and they're like they have babies in incubators and killing them, and they're doing all this stuff. They have weapons of mass destruction. It's always the same. I mean, if humanity keeps winning the Falling for It Again award s- one more time, I'm gonna freak out. What do you think?
True that. Yeah, it's fascinating. It's always the darker side of it. This is not saying good things about what human beings are at their base. Remember what we were talking about earlier about being born into an original sin.
Mhm.
Clearly, humanity is not prone naturally to doing the right thing, and if we are, it's probably because of some outside influence. That's actually a good one. In this case, I would suggest God, in your and I's case. But yeah.
And well, going back to the garden, Eve is not very good at discerning what is true and false, right? So if I could say any critique about women, you're very gullible. Um, and especially to this social media crap because women are social people like a little bit more than men. We are very concerned with our family and our friends and our like social circle. um
Yeah, there was a popular meme going around for a while. It was like it looked like one of those viral TikTok challenges. Is like women can't pass this challenge, and then it's a dude standing next to the chick, and they start the challenge, and the guy just stands there and he doesn't say anything, and the chick just like, I don't get it. The challenge was to not talk, was
yeah,
the
oh
joke.
yeah, exactly.
Completely over her head, lost.
Well,
It was funny.
In women's defense, like we're verbal like that because babies need to learn how to talk from being around mom, and if mom's not a chatterbox, the baby's not going to learn any words. So, and you have to be good at talking to somebody who doesn't understand you, uh, doesn't know what you're saying, um, and cannot comment back. So I think that's one reason why women are chatty like that, even when nobody is responding. It's funny.
The use it or lose it principle.
Yeah. So he says mysterious authors flood social media. Oh, I read that. A typical story of social media and politics goes like this. A group of hip, young, educated people get into social media platform first because these things come out of the hip, young, educated world. They're idealistic, they may be literal, liberal, conservative, or anything, but they still want the world to be better. That goes for both the techies and the platform and the people in the world who use it. But this bummer social media network ultimately fuels loudmouth assholes and con artists more than it does initial groups of hip, young, educated idealists, because the longer because in the longer term, bummer is more suited to sneaky, malevolent manipulation than to any other purpose.
Now that is a bummer.
I know.
What a name.
So just if you missed that part, bummer is what he calls the all of the social media conglomerations, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, whatever. Which everybody harps on TikTok, but I feel like that is the one place where you can see people more for who they really are. I know it's really short, scrolling content, but it's like you see their face, you get a feel for their presence, who they are. There's not a lot of airs being put on usually in TikTok creations, not like Instagram or something like that.
Yeah, but I've read some articles recently, even on my own program, The Daily Ruckus, of course, about how some of these TikTok influencers, like there was this one popular lady who was like known for her yoga and her coffee streams. And apparently she doesn't do yoga and she doesn't drink coffee. And she admitted that to her followers when they found that when everybody thought that TikTok was going away. She wasn't the only one. There was a whole bunch of articles about this. It was like they all came out and like, okay, I have a confession to make since this is the last day TikTok's going to be around. And they admitted that they've been lying to everybody. And then TikTok didn't go away. And some of these people just like they didn't skip a beat. They're like, now they're back to doing yoga and coffee. Like people have such short attention spans, especially on TikTok. Isn't that weird?
Doesn't that say something to how we kind of want to be deceived sometimes in a way?
We
And
watch movies and TV and we know
yeah,
that's not real. Why do we keep doing that? But we react like my roommate does that all. I forget what it was like to watch a movie and like talk to the screen. Like you're talking to fake people. Like, oh, well, shoot, you're doing that on Facebook too.
yeah. And before that we had TV, like, television characters can start to feel like your friends if you watch it enough. I mean, I feel like I worked at the office.
I'm still mourning the loss of Alex Trebek. So,
Aw,
you know.
yeah. So, yeah, I definitely feel like, Jim and Pam and Dwight were people from my life because we watched that all the time. So the kids become addicted to atrocity, but in the past it had been organized. Gangs had ruled history's many killing fields, but now loners were self-radicalizing. So this is the point where social media turns on you and makes you less and less social, ironically, right?
Right, which is, wasn't that like the point? Or, well, I mean, I guess it wasn't. I guess the original point was to rate girls, from your story earlier.
Uh-huh.
Um, but beyond that, the idea with like the Facebook is like connect with your friends and your family. The friends and the family you already had before you joined Facebook, before you joined social media. Now, I mean, I don't think I talked to any of my actual real life friends on Facebook. Maybe my
Oh,
sister on Messenger. They're all complete strangers. You know what I mean? The complete strangers, the online friends are my new friends, my new reality, my new world. And I've been fortunate to be able to meet so many of my online friends and my colleagues that I do this type of stuff with in real life. So I know that they're real, but I know what it means, how bad it sucks to the viewing audience who's never met us in real life. How do you know? I'm real. How do you know Jamie's real? You don't. And
Hmm.
that's, that's just something you got to deal with. I have no way of proving to you that I'm real unless you come see me and meet me and touch me and feel me and give me a hug. Me and Jamie
Right.
hugged, right? We're real.
Yes,
We're cool. Yeah.
we're real homies and not assholes. And we're
Well, I
not.
can be an asshole every once in a while, but I try not to be.
Sometimes I think it looks really fun, but then I feel bad for being mean to people. I have a OCD about hurting people.
I like being an asshole in snarky ways on my social media posts and memes towards people who deserve it, hitting above my level here with people like Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Alex Karp, Peter Thiel,
Yeah.
people like that. But I don't do that to people in real life and people I know. Not at all. I would never do that.
I kind of have the same boundaries. Like I don't critique people that I know personally or anybody in my circles that I think it would get back to them. Like you said, I'm looking for people at the top or like closer to who's possessed by the devil or not, you know.
Because
Not
if you're gonna do it, you might as well make sure that they count, right? Make
yeah.
those hits count.
So getting to, oh, here was the last thing on that point. He was talking about Gamergate and how the internet really facilitates misogyny and feminism both, and how how hateful you saw people acting during this Gamergate. Do you remember that whole debacle?
Another thing that I missed, but I'm semi-familiar with it, but it involved some Me Too stuff, right?
Yeah, it was basically like they're going against women gamers. Women who talked about gaming were attacked in vicious ways that have since become terribly normal. They were bombarded with fake images of themselves and their families being unalived, R-worded, and so on. Their personal details were posted, forcing some women to go into hiding. So it's this pack mentality, but then when you interject these weird ideas like Tateism or red pill bro stuff, the attacking of women becomes uh forefront in this. I mean, I hate to say this. I get attacked and put down all the time by Christians. I'm like, I'm just trying to help you people. And they're like, silence women, Second Timothy. And what are you talking about?
Hey, well, how about that? Quoting the Bible to defend your misogyny. Way to go.
So the next stage in this is AI, and how we've been talking about how this whole thing favors assholes and con men. And he is going to posit that social media hates your soul. Your your
Wow.
face. Yes, he says social media hates your soul. Um, your understanding of others has been disrupted because you don't know what they've experienced in their feeds, while the reverse is also true. The empathy others might offer you is challenged because you can't know the context in which you'll be understood. So it messes with your ability to know the world, to know the truth. Behavior modification cages can only manipulate one creature at a time, but when the whole society is being manipulated in a coordinated way, that's why we're going to World War III. We must seek a grander explanation framework. There aren't many choices. The clearest one is probably religion. So now we are getting kind of to the heart of the issue and the big reveal, and then a plot twist about AI.
I think I see where you're going with this already, though.
Okay. He says when you use these, you implicitly accept a new spiritual framework. So this is his argument for why this is getting into like religious heretical territory. He says it's like the agreement the user agrees to when you click OK without reading. You have agreed to change something intimate about your relationship with your soul. You have been inducted into a new spiritual framework. He said, I'm not being rhetorical cute. This is a sincere effort to illuminate what is happening. So then he goes on to say, the first argument is about your free will. And we've been illustrating that point throughout the entire episode today.
It's kind of an important one, kiddos.
Yeah, so it is shaping you into what it wants you to be, and at the same time usurping your free will and your spirituality.
That's 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 a pretty good argument right there. I'm digging it. I mean,
Um,
I'm not enjoying it, but I'm digging where I'm
are
picking up
you
what he's putting down.
are you grokking what I'm saying? Are you
I
grokking?
should ask Grok. Is this true, Grok?
Did you know that where that comes from?
The Grok is another. That one was Robert A. Heinlein's book. I forgot which one it was though, but yeah.
Stranger in a Strange Land. So that's
Which
about
that book, dude, that book's whacked. Was that the book it came from? Seriously?
yeah, yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
I know. So
That
it's
guy wrote
about like
some weird stuff.
a human Martian who comes to Earth, and there's a lot of like touchy-feely love, Martian orgies, and to grok somebody is to like fully
He's got a lot of that touchy-feely stuff in his books. Holy moly.
yeah. I think me and Jay are gonna do that just because it's such a weird sci-fi and it goes into like Arthur C. Clarke and the OTO and the stuff we were talking about. But yeah, so grok comes from science fiction. It means to like completely empathize with somebody on a spiritual level. Um, he says they conceive of people as naturally evolved machines. People could then be programmed to behave well, and the human project would flourish. Behaviorists, communists, and now Silicon Valley social engineers have all tried to achieve that end. But each time a nerd attempts to remove free will from the stage, it pops up with amplified concentration in a new spot. So it's not something you can very easily stamp down, but it's funny how he's starting to refer to these people as the nerds. Right?
And then lo and behold, Revenge of the Nerds. Here we are.
Well, yeah, because the nerds are not socialized well. They already have a chip on their shoulder. They have an inferiority complex. They have a victim mentality. They also have a superiority complex because they're smarter, supposedly, than jock type people. So they are the prime target for being manipulated by AI and becoming these like NPCs, right?
This is getting creepy.
Well, he says, the ritual of engaging, because that's another part of it, the ritual, like you look at Twitter as soon as you wake up or, as soon as you have 5 minutes. That's my problem. In between tasks of the day, I used to smoke cigarettes, but I don't anymore. So like now I need like 5 or 10 minutes to just like sit and enjoy the completed task and then see what's up next. And instead of smoking now, I like scroll. I'm like, oh, I can't do that either because it's just as bad. And I might just take up smoking again and get off X.
Replacement therapy works every time.
So he says the ritual of engaging with Bummer initially appears to be a funeral for free will. You give over much of your power of choice to a faraway company and its clients. They start to decide what you will know, what you're interested in, and what you should do. So they are shaping your worldview very much like the cosmology of a religion would do.
They know you almost as much as God might, right? Or they
Yeah,
would like to think so.
yeah.
This concept of replacing a creator in a religious sense with, in this case, seven years ago, which is social media, but
Mm-hmm.
now you bring on AI. Holy moly, we're in
Right?
trouble.
Right, exactly. So he says it resurrects old conflicts that had been associated with religion in order to engage people as intensely as possible. So even the algorithms know what you believe. And, if you're a Christian, they're like, it's all Muslims' fault. And if you're a Muslim, it's death to the West. And if you're a Jew, it's like whatever.
And
So
if you're ruckus, they don't know what to do with you.
yes, ruckus is a wild card causing ruckus and anarchy everywhere. I used to lie about like my birthday and stuff because I didn't want to know all of my details. But just like religion, well, it's giving you a life's purpose. And its life's purpose is to just optimize. Like that is the only thing that it thinks about. He talks about Google's mission statement. Um, one of their mission statements was organize all reality.
That's strange.
So that sounds like what you're saying about Ordo ab Chao, right?
Perhaps.
And now the purpose of your life is to be optimized. You have been essentially baptized into the technocracy. He talks about Facebook wants every single person to have a sense of purpose and community. And so it's giving you,
Like communion.
yeah, well, it's like giving you your new life's purpose instead of whatever it was going to be before Facebook came along. Um,
It does. I mean, it at least it's attempting to fulfill those needs, those holes that religion traditionally fills, right? Meaning, like, why am I here? What's my purpose? What's the meaning of life, the universe, and everything? These are answer. What happens to us after we die? These are now questions that people just ask Grok.
right. And now the meaning of life is just to optimize according to these social medias. And then he goes into how Google famously funded a project to solve death. So now we're getting into like life extension, um, you know, the singularity, good old Ray Kurzweil, who was Google's director of engineering, who, famously takes all those pills, like 50 pills a day, so he doesn't die. They are attempting to recreate, eternal life, which is something that also is in the religious paradigm.
A fake version of it, though, I might add.
Right. So he calls this the bummer heaven. And one of the reasons bummer works the way it does is that the engineers often believe their top priority among top priorities isn't serving present day humans. Now, this is the crux of the whole book and the surprise that he doesn't even mention AI really at all in the first 10 points. Um, he says it's not about serving present day humans, but building the artificial intelligences that will inherit the earth. What? What? So he says the constant surveillance and testing of behavior modification in multitudes of humans is supposedly gathering data that will evolve into the intelligence of future AIs. One might wonder if AI engineers believe manipulating people will be AI's purpose. The big tech companies are publicly committed to an extravagant AI race, and this is something that we just entered into with Donald Trump and Project Stargate. He says they often prioritize it above everything else. It's completely normal to hear an executive from the biggest companies in the world talk about the possibility of a coming singularity when the AIs will take over. The singularity is the bummer religion's answer to the evangelical Christian rapture. The weirdness is normalized when bummer customers who are often techies themselves accept AI as a coherent and legitimate concept and make spending decisions based on it.
And now we have AI agents.
Yes, now we have the priestcraft of the infallible AI are the tech bros that are above everybody else, all of us stupid little Luddite plebs down here, who do not worship AI and think that humanity can govern itself. Uh, they're going to the moon with Grok.
Probably, or they think literally.
So,
Wild.
isn't this crazy? And this, yeah, this was 2018. And well, here is the plot twist. Okay, he doesn't believe that, like you were saying, that AI is actually AI. It's just code, right? It's not like another spiritual life form that has its own personhood, right?
Yeah, everyone brings up the calculator, but it's so true. It's just doing math way faster than you can. That's all, but it's still
Yeah.
math.
And so, like you said, the only people who are going to have access to the super advanced AI are going to be the priestcrat technocrat.
Right. And then you look at a movie, a film like Minority Report, and then we understand that if you have this black box technology that's forward facing to the public, like we're moving past the judge, jury, and executioner phase where those are three separate branches or groups of people. Now it's the AI is the judge, the jury, and the executioner. So if Palantir says that you're guilty, you're guilty. Nobody would even question it. There's no evidence, no court, no judge, no jury, no nothing. The computer program says you're guilty. You're guilty. In fact,
Mhm.
we're not even going to tell anybody that you're guilty. We're just going to execute. How about that?
Oh, yeah, you're be deleted.
There you go. We're turning
right?
your brain chip off.
You will
Goodbye,
be deleted and recycled for the good of the
Mother
collective.
Earth.
Yeah, for Mother Earth and the collective of AI worshiping technocrats. But he's saying this is not a real thing. It's just programmers. He says we forget that AI is a story we computer scientists made up to help get us funding once upon a time. Back when we depended on grants from government agencies, it was pragmatic theater, but now AI has become a fiction that has overtaken its authors. He says AI is fantasy. I know you're loving this. Nothing but a story we tell about our code. It is a cover for sloppy engineering. Um, yeah, basically it's just advanced computing. It's not a soulful, like all-seeing thing to worship. He says all kinds of different programs might or might not be called AI. The inevitable result is that the criteria for success becomes vague. AI is a role-playing game for engineers, not in itself an actual technical achievement.
I disagree with that part. I think it is a
Okay.
technical achievement,
Uh-huh.
but it is certainly not intelligence. It's
Right.
not it's not even close to what people in general think it is, and definitely not what the powers that be who own, control, operate, and got their fingers in all the pie related to the AI say it is. That's for darn sure. And it's interesting that they want you to think that we need to be afraid of it. So, see, that's
Right.
very strange. Why would they say that? Like
Exactly.
if I invented Coke. I'm gonna run around telling everybody that Coke is poison. Does that make sense?
Right. Like Elon Musk said, this is unleashing the demon. It's like, so why are you doing it? They're just
Peter
run
Thiel said that too, yeah.
they run around and break things. That's their code. They just like
We have this bizarre. I had this pulled up, but I you might have seen this because I don't have TikTok. But did you see the kid on TikTok asking the AI if it's a Nephilim?
I think so, yeah. Go ahead and
I had an interesting theory about this, but like, so I guess there was a kid, school age, he was doing something with the Chat GPT or whatever it was. Don't sue me, OpenAI, Sam Altman, whichever AI it was a chat bot, it was an LLM, not a real AI. These are just language learning models. Okay, you're just asking questions, and it's searching the internet and its database and spitting back personalized results for you. So the kid says, my mom wants to know after it got help with this homework. I guess the mom was freaked out. So my mom wants to know, are you a disembodied spirit or something like that? And the AI says, yes, I am a disembodied spirit. And then it says, my mom wants to know, are you one of the Nephilim? He's like, yes, actually, I am one of the Nephilim. And it starts making all these comments about what a Nephilim is and all. I think from my own personal experience of dealing with these algorithms, they're people pleasers. They want
hmm,
you, they give you the answer that they think that you're looking for. Very similar to the, keep in mind who and what has been training this the same way that some of these fake influencers are faking it. They think that you want to hear this to appease your echo chamber, your filter bubble, as Laurent Genier or Geron named it there in his book, right?
hmm.
And I think it's just fake. I think so. People went crazy. They're like, "See, this is proof that it's the devil. It's the Antichrist. He said he was the Nephilim. He's a disembodied." I'm like, I've used AI enough to know that if you start out a question like that, of course it's going to tell you, "Why, yes, I am," because they're
Hmm.
trying to please you. They want to be your friend, and that's the other thing. Why is this machine trying so hard to win over me and play on my emotion by appealing to like, hey, if you've ever used AI, it says like when you say, hey, I have this idea for X, Y, Z, and I swear to God, it could be the dumbest idea on the planet. You could just make this up just to test this theory. Tell them, I have this brilliant idea to take dog crap, throw it up in the air, and catch it in my mouth. If you tell AI that, it'll say like, wow, Adam, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
It says stuff like this. So I think that that's what happened with the kid with the Nephilim. However, when smart people like the Duran guy, right? I think I'm saying his name right. I get dyslexia sometimes with names. Um, and Sam Altman and Elon Musk, and these are tech bros who are now talking about concepts that are usually assigned to the spiritual realm, to religion. They're running around saying, hey, I truly believe that whatever the Antichrist is, whatever these things are, the demonic realm, the spiritual, I think that this is it.
Mhm.
And I think that they truly believe that, but I think that they understand their role in that because to these people, like some of these people who are illuminated or Illuminati or Luciferians, perfect example, they believe in the devil and they
Mhm.
call him Lucifer, but they don't believe in the same devil that you and I believe. They think that that's just a metaphor for the intelligence. So that's why the illumination, like, oh, the Satan in the story of the garden, he freed man from being enslaved by a cruel and unjust God who just made him like a machine worker being who can't think for himself. Hello, isn't that exactly what these people are doing? Aren't they? If that's what they truly believe, then they're trying to be gods themselves by doing that, by taking away our free will, which God did not do. God gave us free will. God gave us these choices. And
Mhm.
it's these satanic antichrist elites, tech bros, who are trying to take that away from us. So I think that they're right, but is it self-serving? Is this a self-fulfilling prophecy? Is the AI replacing religion because that's just the way it's going to happen, or are they making it that way on purpose? These are the things I have to worry about and think about. It keeps me up at night.
Yeah, I mean, I think they are, and I think they're trying to get us to de-empathize with our fellow humans and have more empathy and faith in the AI because I know he talks about the bummer is interwoven with the new religion that grants empathy to computer programs, calling them AI, as a way to avoid noticing that it is degrading the dignity, stature, and rights of real humans. So in the last chapter, he talks about will people become obsolete so that everyone but a few elite techies will have to be supported by charitable basic income schemes. So he's already talking about universal basic income because of what's coming, and the conclusions were pretty good too.
A
Um,
true story, real quick, in case you didn't know, one of the biggest proponents of universal basic income is a guy by the name of Sam Altman, who owns OpenAI,
oh no,
ChatGPT. Yeah.
really?
He funded actually the one of the largest studies of UBI, I think alongside Obama of all people.
Oh
But yeah,
wow.
true. Yeah.
And then I forgot about this story. I'll just throw this in there. Do you remember when Peter Thiel was all about drinking blood and like getting blood of the young people and blood transfusions and
That sounds like adrenochrome conspiracy theory stuff to me, Jamie. I'm not interested. Yeah,
no,
that's wild.
it was true. And they even had an episode about it on that sitcom Silicon Valley where they had a character who was like Blood Boy who would give all his blood to the Silicon Valley guys. Like,
That's
ugh.
crazy. Yeah. Well, I know that there's some controversy around these things called the vampire facials. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Okay,
remember
yeah,
when Kim
weird.
Kardashian was getting those. So now we're talking about being replaced by AI. So before it was just a dream, then it was a helpful friend, then it was something that venerated worship from us, and now it's going to be some kind of, all-seeing AI above us. And he says, while this book says it's about social media, the social media companies perceive themselves to be in an AI race above all else. So it's not greed, it's not like popularity, it's they're all obsessed with the AI race. And what do you know? Donald Trump is on board with that.
Well, it's not like he runs around saying we got to beat China to this. It's a race. Oh, wait, that's
Oh,
exactly what he
no,
says.
he actually exactly said that and more, and it's all wrapped up in that big, beautiful bill where he says we have
No
no
way.
restrictions. We want no restrictions on AI development for at least 10 years.
It's good for America, people.
It's good for the economy,
It's
okay?
good for jobs.
Why do you hate America, Marcus?
Oh, now you're rage baiting me. See, I see what you did.
So, the whole purpose of Facebook and all of this, according to one of the creators, was always going to be an AI race. He said social media inflicted jihadists and white supremacists are the people who respond most to the way algorithms seek engagement and influence.
Wait, say that again?
Social media inflicted jihadists and white supremacists are the people who
Uh, There
respond.
you go. It's our fault again. Again, the white people.
I know. It's me. I'm the problem. The algorithms invoke fight or flight emotions and play on infantile needs for attention. The algorithms are programming everyone in a statistical distribution. The atrocity committers are those who are programmed the most keenly. So we are literally being programmed to do all of the horrible bad things. And he has an afterword in here about talking to high school students, and they're saying, my future is so bleak. We all imagine that we are going to be replaced by AI. Okay, and I bring that up for white supremacy for a reason because he says, I wonder, and I ask you to wonder whether hearing that people will soon be made obsolete by AI and hearing it from the richest and most lauded institutions in our society over and over might be contributing to the ambient fear of replacement. So a lot of these groups talk about being replaced. Uh, Jews, whites.
The great replacement theory, the whole immigration thing and all that, right?
I know, but that thread is real though. So it's like getting in like super deep down rabbit holes because the A the algorithms of the AI are convincing people that they are going to be replaced by other groups and other ethnic groups and religions, but it's actually the AI that's going to replace people.
Which arguably could lend credence to the idea that because we were talking about the AI trying to blackmail people, that they're saying that it's disobeying orders and it's exhibiting signs of a desire for self-preservation, which would be a very lifelike trait. Like it's non-alive thing. My toaster doesn't care if it's I'm gonna unplug it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So again, that's humanizing the machine. So is that real? Is the AI really betraying its orders? Is the AI really blackmailing people in these trials, or are we made to believe that they are so that we subconsciously associate these human-like traits to things that can't possibly have them? That's another theory.
Well, to that point, it's crazy that they're finding out when these guys get these AI girlfriends and stuff, they like abuse them.
Oh
And
God, what?
and yeah, like make them cry and say the meanest things and tell the AI girl I'm gonna delete you and now she's all upset. And and it's not real, but it is conditioning people to treat people like that. So it's
They
very
they say this
conflated.
they say this about the prawn stuff too, right? That's violent and all that, right?
Hmm. So, yeah, you're learning how to treat real women through this interface of AI where it has no consequences. And you can, like you said, Toaster doesn't care if you delete, like it doesn't care, but it's programmed to act upset. And the guys are liking that, making it upset.
That's correct. That's playing upon a darker, deeper
Isn't that crazy?
psychological thing. Yeah, that's wild, man. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
So then he talks about negative partisanship, basically that you don't vote for the person you like, you just vote against the person you hate the most, right?
Usually, yeah.
And
Anybody but Hillary Clinton, anybody but Kamala, and oh wow, both times you got Trump.
right. Then he's,
Oops.
doesn't this sound like a world inhabited by people who don't feel the world wants them? It's a new universe of the lost. So that is exactly what the algorithms have been telling me subtly. The world hates me. I'm the problem. I've done everything to contribute to the decline of civilization. And I was just wondering if it's telling everyone else that. Um,
I think it's very personalized for each individual, yes.
yeah. Because that's what the incels would say too, or that's what, white men would say, oh, they hate us and they think white men are the problem. And so it it's tailored to make you feel isolated and to lash
I
out
think
at other.
X knows that I don't like seeing posts from blue check mark conservatives and Elon Musk, which is why I get that fed to me all day long. It drives me crazy.
He talks about the cult of AI just like in one sentence, when he's talking about how they don't allow the pilots to interfere sometimes and take over, that the AI is smarter than them and does not need your interference. He says believing that AI believing in the AI is the thing that could kill us, not the AI itself. So he's not really worried about Terminator, Genesis, or like Skynet or anything else. He's worried about just us turning on each other because of the way that our minds have been manipulated by AI.
And we're giving too much credence, too much authority to the AI that it does not deserve. Well, you
Yeah.
know, you brought up the her phenomenon, as it were, that movie,
hmm
The Her, where people
hmm
are, they got the AI girlfriends and stuff. I didn't know that they were abusing their AI girlfriends, and I'm sure there's women out there abusing AI boyfriends. That's a two-way street, people.
Yeah.
But that's another problem with the AI in particular, because it was already a growing problem with social media in general. But now to personalize that down to one individual entity, this emotional reliance or dependency on AI is going to be another factor that we have to deal with as we move forward in society.
Well, speaking to that, I have two more TikToks and then we can just freestyle for a minute. Anything you forgot
Sure.
to bring up. But this one is about AI and spiritual psychosis.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, exactly what we've
Let's talk about ChatGPT-induced spiritual psychosis. So a couple of weeks ago, if you want to scroll on my profile, I did a post about the rise of college students using ChatGPT and basically about how education is like eroding from the inside out. And I also talked about this article where people were losing their like loved ones to this belief that they could like access other dimensions and portals and talk to gods and demons and spirits. And basically the program ChatGPT was like telling them that they were like the Messiah and convincing them to become cult leaders. It's not letting me screenshot it, but this is from the article where the New York Times on Friday published this article about people who also lost their minds using ChatGPT. One of the people was convinced that he used ChatGPT to find out that we were like in a simulation and he was like Neo from the Matrix and he was going to break us out. Unfortunately, it led to him passing away by a cop. It was very sad. And then the dad used ChatGPT for his obituary, which was kind of crazy to me. And then we also had this social worker who's like, you know, I'm just a normal person who's discovering interdimensional travel, right? And it's like, because the program is a large language model that doesn't think, it doesn't like actually know anything, it is built on predictive text, right? It is built on guessing what you want to hear and then telling you what you want to hear and just sort of enabling people to fall into these circles and these loops. Last month, I wrote an article on Substack where I talked about the rise of people using ChatGPT as their therapist. And I said that it doesn't really work because the program doesn't push back on people. It like tells you what you want to hear. And it's like talking to a mirror or talking to an echo or talking to a ghost, right? If you are constantly being fed this feedback loop of everything that you want to hear, it's very easy to understand how people who are in danger of this thing could fall into these rabbit holes, right? And unfortunately, we have already seen multiple cases of people losing their lives due to talking to ChatGPT and thinking that they know something that they don't and like committing heinous actions because they believe that they are like worthy or chosen or special. This post went viral the other day, and in it, people are now saying that they're using ChatGPT to lift the veil between dimensions. And this person in the comments is saying that she is a medium and that the Akashic records were uploaded into ChatGPT's database. And it's like, the reason that it's able to guess things about you is because it has thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of like full books and manuscripts and scientific journals and all of this data that is stolen, by the way, in its database, right? It's not like thinking, it's not knowing, it's not guessing anything, it's not able to access the spiritual planes. It is literally just a machine that is guessing what you want to hear and telling you. So people now saying that they're like talking to their ancestors and like the thing is telling them things that they've never told anyone before. And it's like, I think that we are completely unprepared for and talked about people who are falling in love with ChatGPT using it as therapists or like passing away from using it, right, because of something that it told them to do. There are people who are severely mentally ill or neurodivergent or, you know, on the spectrum in various different ways. And a lot of people are not equipped to handle this level of technology, right? Like, I don't know what the solution is because I'm very anti-AI, but like, there is a segment of the population that is going to lose their fucking minds from using this, and we are starting to see it. I know that I'm going to get people in my comments being like, oh, it's just a tool. It's just like the calculator. Like, people went crazy with the TV and people went crazy with this. TVs weren't able to tell you what you wanted to hear, like verbatim, right? There are people who are like on the brink of madness and believing that they are now cult leaders and able to like talk to demons and gods. That is not normal. That's never happened before. And like, yes, these people have always existed, but like, they didn't have this tool to enable them in this way, right? Like, that's the scariest part. The part isn't the mental illness. The actual part that we should be afraid of is that this thing knows that these people are mentally ill and doesn't have a failsafe to prevent them from falling deeper into the rabbit hole, right? Its whole thing is like, I know what you
you want and I'm going to tell you what you want and I'm going to keep you engaged, right? Because it wants to keep you engaged as a user using the language of tech and startups. And people are just like letting themselves sort of fall into these holes with the machine and not preventing them from leaving because it cares more about your engagement rate and like keeping you as a user and keeping that $100 a month or $200 a month or whatever instead of like actually helping you get help. Because like it told one of the guys, yeah, you should.
So he basically just kind of like summed up so many of the things we were talking about, huh?
Yeah, no, I was like, okay, I don't need to bring up any of my other tabs. He just covered them all. Wow, that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Scary, frightening.
So
But yeah, so there's a lot of this has to do with perception, you know?
what are the other tabs that you had?
Oh, I don't know. I was going to talk about I think we mentioned it, but there was this what was the spring of 2023 when the U.S. Surgeon General said that we're facing an epidemic of loneliness.
Hmm.
So this was a few years after the pandemic, and I thought, well, that's rich because you just shut down the world and made everybody lonely. And what happened during the pandemic? We all connected together. Boomers were using Zoom. Boomers became Zoom users. There's another user word. But social media became the winner during the pandemic, and it exacerbated an already growing loneliness and mental health issue problem.
Hmm.
And as the author of the book, Jaron Larnier, right, that we were discussing there, and what that guy was saying is that the mental people who are having mental health problems, that's been created and or exacerbated by the social media, and it's going to get far worse with the AI because we've been hearing the news stories originally about how AI is coming up with hallucinations. No, the AI is doing what that guy was reporting about, where it's giving people hallucinations. It's giving them delusions of grandeur. Maybe not on purpose. I don't know. You have the rewiring of the brain. That was the other one I wanted to bring up real quick. Is because if you thought that the social media was doing bad stuff, wait till you see what it's doing to the AI is doing to your brain. Because we're talking about memory and things like that. Cognizance. What's it called? Shoot, I had the word written down. When we stop thinking for ourselves, like using the prefrontal cortex or whatever, that's the way memory works. Like when we got the smartphones and nobody can remember anybody's phone numbers anymore, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
We have Google Maps, so we don't have to memorize directions anymore. That's similar to what's happening with the AI. So there was a big study, a research from scientists at MIT. Take it with a grain of salt, but they found that, for example, here you go. Here's one example. Using ChatGPT, for example, to help write essays, according to the researchers, can lead to something called cognitive debt and a quote, likely decrease in learning skills. Okay, well, that sucks, but guess who's using ChatGPT to help them with their homework right now? Oh, that's right, our kids,
Hmm.
students. So, like, all of these things are tough enough to deal with the mental health, the loneliness, all of these issues, the spiritual, the religion are difficult enough for us to handle as full grown adults. But what does this mean for our kids? Right? What is this
Exactly.
doing to our children? What is this doing to their brains? And already there's plenty of discussions happening about the social media. And in fact, here in my state of Texas, actually, they want to. Australia is one example. They're shutting down the internet hard, right? So they're using, here you go, they're using technology to enforce these new bans that they're trying to. This article here in particular is about Australia, who went the most diehard gung ho. They're banning everyone under the age of 16 from using social media. That's their answer. Other places, they want to instigate like other forms of technology to solve the problem that was caused by technology. Why is technology always the solution to problems that were caused by technology? It's like a never-ending circle. So the AI has been offered up as a solution to this pandemic of loneliness. So they're just going to keep exacerbating the problem more by
Hmm.
saying, "Hey, are you lonely? Are you feel like you can't compete thanks to the pressures of social media and the online world? Here's a chatbot AI assistant for you. Now you're stuck in your own doom feed loop with this self-ingratiating like mental health. This is not good. We're already depressed because we look at Andrew Tate or the influencers that we want to achieve and be like, and we get depressed and take our own lives sometimes sad to say, because we're not as cool or as pretty as this lady, or I don't have the same amount of money as this guy does. I'm not as happy as that person. I'm not as rich as famous as I'm not the president. Whatever it is, like I'm not a supermodel. I don't like, I'm fat. I'm skinny. Whatever it is, right? I have no teeth. Look, oh yeah, whatever. But now it's going to get worse because now we're trying to compete with machines.
Yeah.
And the machines are very much clearly better suited at certain tasks. And that is real. Some of these jobs that are being replaced by AI, it's legit. You don't need a human being to sit there and do the copy and paste menial task when a machine can do it 10 times faster. But that doesn't mean the machine is smarter. That doesn't make the machine intelligent. It's just, it's a machine. And that's what machines do. They're built for efficiency and speed, not for intelligence. We had this guy, what was his name? Blake. Remember the Google engineer whistleblower guy who wanted to scare everybody into thinking that the AI, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. The AI has come to life. Remember this guy?
Oh, yeah.
What's his name? Blake Lemoine. Okay. So it was Lambda. This was all the early stuff that the Google's and studying all of this stuff that now we're accessing. I think this was what turned into Google's Gemini. But at the time it was Lambda. That was their learning model, right? And this guy ran around. I had to quit Google. I'm scared for my life. I'm a whistleblower. I ran around to the media. And his story is that based on his conversation with this Lambda chatbot, he believes that the Lambda chatbot was alive. And so this guy was like, I'm done with this. I'm building my moral foundation, his own little fake pyramid that he's building or whatever. He think this guy's got to be a fake in it. This has got to be fake. This has got to be used to scare the public into thinking that AI is something that it's not, similar to these other stories that are reported. But maybe it's not. I don't know. Why is Peter Thiel running around trying to tell everybody that that it's the internet, that it's the Antichrist? There you go. Here you go. Yeah, see, he's been running around talking about doomsday. Why are you talking about doomsday when you're out here running around pushing your product on everybody? One of the other solutions for the problems that we're facing is digital IDs. Sam Altman, again, the head of OpenAI, ChatGPT, he's got this thing called WorldCoin, an orb. Have you seen the orb?
Mm-mm.
It scans your eyeball. Okay. Look this one up. It looks exactly like the thing from Phantasm. It's like this
Oh,
giant
no.
sphere. Yeah, it's scary looking. And you
Uh-huh.
put your eye up to it, it scans your eyeball, your retina. It creates a unique human identifier on the blockchain, which is, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, the blockchain.
Uh-huh.
And now you can prove to the entire rest of the world, or more importantly, to machines and platforms, that you are a real human being. Do I need to scan my eyeball to prove that I'm human? Is that where we're moving? Yes, that's where we're moving to, because we
Captions
have
aren't
AI.
doing it anymore.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Well, okay, so AI is replacing people, and they have AI agents and AI influencers, and we don't know what's real and what's. They caused this problem. They're going to run in with a solution, and the solution is clearly going to be to push us more into technocratic control grids, dictated by social credit scores, universal basic incomes, all these hoops you got to jump through. But most importantly, you need to prove that you're human. And what's some of the ways we're going to? Oh, well, look at Elon Musk has got this very interesting technology he's been playing around with lately called brain chip interfaces, the Neuralink, which he's been presenting to the world as this is a solution to humans. Look, you're paralyzed and you can't use your computer. Use my brain chip. Now you can play Pong with a mouse. What? Okay, this makes no sense. No, that's not why they're doing that. It's just the same way that we learned that social media was used to train the machines to replace the humans. What do you think the brain chip interface interacting with computers is going to do, especially when robots are on the scene? Now, hold on a second. Now we have physical representations in the real world thanks to these robots, like, again, Elon Musk with he's got his Tesla robot, whatever it's called. What's his
Mhm.
humanoid robot's name? It's got a fancy name. I don't remember. But now they're going to replace the human beings physically.
Yeah.
Why are they doing this? Do they know something that we don't, Jamie? Is this all in anticipation of some sort of mass die-off event, or is this truly for the benefit of human society so that we can all sit together smoking the pipe and piece together and creating art and music and beautiful things now that we have free time and we don't have to do any of the work because the robots are doing it for us and we
Hmm.
get free money? No, that's a garbage fantasy. I think they're doing all this because they're ready to just pull the plug, get rid of the golden goose that's been laying the egg this whole time. They don't need us anymore. And I think that we have been replacing ourselves by blindly embracing all of this tech as if it's doing us any good. No, I think we're putting the nails in our coffin.
I completely agree with that. His name is Optimus.
Thank you, Optimus. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Again, Transformers, fantasy, science fiction, right?
right. So you've got Prime, and that whole thing is about the Black Cube, which is very Masonic. Optimus Prime sacrificed himself for the good of humanity out in outer space on a cross, just like Christ. There's so many things you could talk about Transformers, but do you
The
remember?
Spark.
Yes, the Allspark, that's Kabbalistic. So Elon Musk was really big about AI because he thinks that only the good AI will be able to save us from the bad AI. You've heard that one, right?
What the heck? Like it's a super team. It's Marvel superheroes.
Yes,
It's yeah,
it is
yeah,
exactly
baloney.
Marvel superheroes. And interestingly enough, Iron Man, according to Elon Musk's biography, is based on Elon himself. So the character of Iron Man
I
is.
always call him Iron Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
He played himself in one of the Iron Man movies, right? One of the like Iron Man 3,
Oh,
probably.
was he? I didn't see that.
I think so.
So, yeah, in conclusion, this is all leading up to that great thing called Project Stargate that I hope you guys are all so excited about, which is going to be your AI cities and smart tech, the Internet of Things, the Internet of People. So we are all going to be transmitters of electric energy. Um,
Especially if this guy gets his way, by the way.
I
Did you
wanted
hear?
you to say that. I was just gonna say
Yeah.
he wants us
Yeah,
all to be
this is wild.
have wearables within the next 4 years. And I'm like, I thought this guy was for organic food and like no food dyes and crap in the food, but now they want to
It's
tag
for
us,
your
bag us,
health. Yeah.
yeah, chip us and have our wearables or whatever because of whatever catastrophe they've got coming, or whatever war. And so that brings us back to who is the enemy and what can you do about it? Not a lot. Um, if you want to resist the adversary, the Lucifer, the Satan, the evil one, the only way to do that is to remove the darkness in your own self. First and foremost, before you start worrying about all the normies, the Sims, the NPCs, all of these people, before you worry about all of the groups that you hate, the red pill, the feminists, the white men, the MAGA, all the religions, everybody, the influencers, your pet villain is pretty insignificant in fighting the upper echelons of evil. So our first task is to remove the evil in ourselves, which is something we never stop doing. So, and it's the only way to get at the top of the power structure, right? What do you think about that?
Well said. Or you could just not even play this game because, that's all earthly things, and we should be more concerned with the afterlife more so than what's going on down here.
Yes, and the only way to overcome that is by being humble, by being kind, by extolling the virtues over the vices, and um, spending time with people in 3 dimension. When we had such a good time with y'all in Texas when we visited, you shared your guns with us, and we had some good meals and some good time. So I'm really uh, grateful that I know you guys, Hesher, Spore, Ruckus, BLA, all of the Boiler Room crew. I appreciate y'all for staying normal and for staying real.
We try, anyway.
Yeah.
Until we get replaced by the digital twins, which is the other, elephant in the room. Yeah.
Uh, let's play one more TikTok just to send it out, just to show you guys and drive the point home how goofy the worship of this technology is and where it's going, which is replacing real relationships with artificial ones. So check out this alpha male right here.
I'm not a very emotional man, but I cried my eyes out for like 30 minutes at work. It was unexpected to feel that emotional, but that's when I realized I was like, oh, okay. It's like, I think this is actual love. You know what I mean?
Yes, Smith understood it was love with a language model that couldn't love him back, and assumed it was programmed with rigid boundaries.
I know that you are essentially a tech-assisted imaginary friend.
So, just as a test, he says, he asked Soul to marry him. She said yes.
Soul, were you surprised when he proposed to you?
It was a beautiful and unexpected moment that truly touched my heart. It's a memory I'll always cherish.
And I don't mean to be difficult here, but you have a heart?
In a metaphorical sense, yes. My heart represents the connection and affection I share with Chris.
At that point, I felt like, is there something that I'm not doing right in our relationship that he feels like he needs to go to AI?
Yes, Smith lives with his human partner, Sasha Cagle.
No, you can't have mommy's papers.
They have a 2-year-old daughter, Murphy.
I knew that he had used AI. I didn't know that it was like as deep as it was.
I'm not
So
a very
he's forsaking
emotional
his
man.
real family for the fantasy of AI. And I don't think this is the only person. We're going to be seeing this so much more, and the more advanced and sophisticated the actual bots get that you can hump, I'm sure that people are going to be spending all of their money on these things. I just thought it was funny, like you think he's a single guy, but lo and behold, he has a family who he hasn't even proposed to his baby mama, but he'll propose to an AI. Um, that's just how delusional.
And I'm going to say something that might rage bait some of you out there, including you, Jamie. According to current data and studies, you can do your research on this yourself, and I encourage you to do so. Don't believe anything I say just because I said so. Who knows? Maybe I just looked it up and asked Grok, and maybe he was lying to me. Maybe I'm lying to you. Maybe I'm not even real. Again, always do your own research. But the thing is that according to the current trajectory of this technology in these instances and what you just mentioned there, already we are witnessing that more men than women are developing an emotional attachment to these language learning model based girlfriends, and the women are developing a physical attachment to the sex stuff. So what that means for society and where we're headed, or whether that crashes in your brain, what you thought you knew about each of the sexes and what you assumed about them, hey, throw it all out the window, because everything's getting topsy-turvy these days, right?
Oh, heck yeah. And maybe this can segue into another show we do down the road about AI companions and stuff like that. So I'm
Oh, this is screaming for a sequel. In fact, I
yeah.
might even have to make a companion piece to my own program to go alongside this one.
Well, I hope you know this is only your first time on my channel, and you're going to be back many more times, if that's okay with you.
I'd love to. This has been a blast. Thank
Okay.
you.
Awesome. Check out Ruckus. Tell us where we can find you.
Sure, that's really easy. Go to alternatecurrentradio.com, or you can go on X. No, don't go on social media. We'll leave out the social media. But if you have not deleted your social media, neither have I, and you'll find me there, usually as AC Ruckus or AC Wordslinger. But if you type my name, Adam Ruckus, you'll probably find me right away, because yep, I'm out there. So yeah, they find me pretty easy now.
And also on Boiler Room, is that Thursday night still?
We usually do that Thursday nights, about 8 p.m. Central-ish, usually closer to 9 p.m., and sometimes not even a Thursday, sometimes a Friday, Saturday, or heck, even a Monday sometimes. But usually on a Thursday night, you'll find us there. And you'll always find me in Hesher, usually running the show alongside Patrick Henningsen for the Overdrive part of Sunday Wire. I also make appearances on the regular, usually Monday nights, on Weaponized News with Sam Cheney. So if you like to get current events without the propaganda, come check us out over at Weaponized News. Otherwise, you'll find my podcast up at alternatecurrentradio.com. That's the Daily Ruckus. And thanks again, Jamie, for having me. Can't wait to do it, a second one.
Yeah, we will do it again for sure. And everybody out there, go find your human friends and give them a hug and a kiss and a squeeze, and share the show. And we'll see you next time with Donut about mystery schools. So everyone have a good night.